Howdy, howdy, my little chickens. How are we all? I am back to full fighting strength, and I intend to do no real fighting. I'm gonna sort of mainly do. I'll probably just stream, I reckon. You know, that's sort of how I go, really. Little facts. Shut the fuck up, large vehicle driving near my house. I'll stab you. I won't actually stab a vehicle. That wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't feel it. It doesn't have feelings. So, yeah. Just saying. Anyway, how are we? Are we getting okay? Are we doing alright? Are we good? Yes. So, we're going to be on with Curtis on the Normal Island show in just a second.
Stop it. Get some help.
About, the usual stuff. It wasn't what I had planned for tonight. But Curtis said this morning, "Oh, do you want to do the thing, the normal island?" I was like, "Fuck yes," because I turned him down last week because I was literally fucking like in the middle of dying of the flu. So I was like, "Yes, back on the horse, motherfuckers. Let's do this." And then after that, we'll do like PMQs or some shit. So yeah. Thank you, Kimberly Diamond 1971 for resubscribing with Prime 33 months. It's a lot of months. Thank you, Kieran Saunders with 40 months. I had a dream last night that I bumped into Kev in person. I think you mean nightmare then, because I'm your worst nightmare, Kieran. I don't know why I looked at the camera when it's not on, because again I'm on Normal Island, so I've got to use it for that for the time being. Anyway, and thank you, Vogel, you crazy Austrian bastard. It says, second beta reader made it through my book. Heck yeah. Don't know what the fuck that means. Probably something terrible like you want to take over the world. I'm just going by past national record. Anyway, much love to you. Now, having read through all of that, I don't usually give you the big sell. I usually just do a regular ass fucking, shill of my shit. But as you may know, this is my coming back, so to speak. This is my return to the Twitch, having been away for 8 days. Which means I have lost 8 days of income, which is very bad, because I was working on fucking tight budgets as it was. So if you were feeling super generous and able to do so, your support at this particular occasion would be massively appreciated and very timely. And you can do so in the various ways you basically know how you can. We're on a hype train as well. If you get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger...
Stop it.
Oh, the Conservative
Get some
Party,
help.
they're dead. I mean, they are properly dead. Fuck me, are they dead. I don't know if anyone watched the Spring Statement stuff. The Tories are just pathetic. And I'm very here for it. I'm extremely fucking here for it. Thank you, Sib Wolf. 46 months. Kev Wars 2, Wrath of Kev. I presume that's a nerd reference that I don't understand. But I don't know. Thank you, Fogel, for gifting 5 subs to the
Giving
to the
Kevin
community.
money is fun.
I will
Bonus
still continue
kitty
to do
bomb.
Austria jokes, though. You cannot stop me from doing so. No matter how much you nipple torture me, okay? No amount of cock and ball torture is going to get you out of this one.
Stop it. Get some help.
And thank you, Kaplan. 24 months. Much love to you. And thank you, Afen, for 10 memberships on the YouTubes. Much love to you. I will just remember now that I do have to turn off the alert box. Okay? Thank you, everybody, for all of your enormous generosity. I do genuinely appreciate that. But I am turning that off now because we're about to go on with Curtis. Which means, of course, I don't need the fucking distraction. I'm going to read notes and things. Or try and remember the notes that I've written, and then, like, pretend not to be reading them. Actually, well, I don't really read them as such. I've got bullet points, and before I start speaking, I try and remember the bullet points I have. And try and make it sound vaguely eloquent, which is difficult because I am shit. But you know. Anyway. Oh. Curtis, as always, very much on time and not at all running late, so it's fine. Like, honest, it's absolutely fine. Fuck yes. Thank you, Lord Fritus, you French bastard. That's just xenophobic, Kev. Unnecessary is what that is. Hey Kev, finger this despunkified. Indeed. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for 667 biddy bits. Giving Kev money is fun. Bonus kitty bunk. Indeed. I almost remembered to upload the Master Coxman thing today, and then I didn't, because I'm fucking dreadful at this. I'm a terrible streamer. You know? It's the way it goes. Oh, pardon me. Oh. What the fuck is he doing? We're supposed to be going on in 2 minutes and he hasn't even responded. If you live near Curtis, can you go around and, like, do things? I'm scared to do a joke now in case Twitch come after me. I was going to do a joke, an actionable threat against a named person. That's all. I was just going to commit a potential crime by pretending to do an actual crime. Is that so terrible? Really? Thank you, Mad Cat Scotty with 200 bits. It says Rachel Freeze was unbearable this afternoon and Mel Stride was worse. Yes, not great. It really wasn't great. It was. I mean, honestly, the statement was better than it might have been. Certainly, let's say in tone. And there are some elements of it that I don't mind so much. We'll get into it if Curtis ever fucking turns up. But well, Lord Fruitus, I did upload that. I just haven't released it yet because I forgot. But it is there, I promise, and I'll do it. I didn't so far. Oh, okay, here we go. Right. Run with Curtis. 1 minute early. Brilliant. Oh. Oh, hang on. No, that's not... okay. Hang on a minute. Reload. Okie dokie. Pardon me, everybody. That was fucking gross, but... needs must sometimes, occasionally. I don't know. Is that okay? Oh, my hair is an absolute fucking mess. Good lord. Actually, that's not true. I brushed it. It's all good. Right, let's have a look here. Camera is correct. Audio is correct. Don't need a visual background. You thingamajig. Join the broadcast.
So fucking good. That person was such an idiot. Hi,
Kevin.
Kevin.
She's horrible. Hello, Kev.
How are we all?
Fantabulous. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, no, I'm very well, thanks. Yeah. Apologies about last week. I was literally dead.
Oh no, man. Like, if you're ill, that's all good.
Yeah.
Not a problem. But you know, it does. It's been 2 weeks, isn't it? Fuck me, that time flies, doesn't it? Should we get going? I'm going to run upstairs to get a bottle of water, but I think we can put it on the intro shit.
Oh shit, let me do that.
Hi, Kev's fan base.
So do I put go live and then just have the countdown?
You want to make sure you're on the
Pre-intro. Countdown.
Well, you can do the countdown straight away if you want, and then go live from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
No point making them wait, I suppose. But yeah, Kev, you all good? The stories?
Shit.
Yeah, no, I'm grand.
Sorry, Curtis. Can you just give me access to the script?
Oh yeah, that we might.
So sorry.
I've also added in about Ben Gavin Smotrich, the sanctions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, back in a sec.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayward Historian, with 1,000 biddy bits. Much love. You people are amazeballs. Amazeballs. And thank you, Flint Reed, who says he's probably tuning up his Brummie translator unit. Well, there is a thing I might get around to watching at some point about middle class grifters, and at the start of it, he goes on and he shows the graph of the different accents from around the UK, with Brummie as like the least favourite, which did make me laugh. New sponsorships are available through Stream Elements. View details in your creator dashboard on a shut the fuck up. The only sponsorship I want is from the very queer friendly Raytheon, who for the month for Pride Month are gonna kill 12% fewer gay people in brown people countries. So you can't say ally better than that, really, can you? 12%. That's a lot of people, because they kill a lot of gay people, like a lot. My lighting is a bit shite. There we go.
Oh dear, Sarah.
I know, I'm not well. I'm really like my throat is so bad.
If you want to make the comment section really short, if you want, you can do that.
You sure?
Yeah. Just if you're not feeling great, just literally do a handful, and just even say like I'm not feeling great, so we're just gonna blast through them.
Yeah. We'll blast through 'em. I literally can't believe how bad like my allergies are. Like it's not even just like my throat. It's like my ears and around my mouth. Oh god, I sound like
You get really itchy.
so like really bad. Like this
Yeah.
disorientates me.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
It's terrible.
My chat have forced me to say that they want to wish you all the best and get well soon.
Oh, that's nice.
To me?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can you tell them they are so wonderful and that I adore them?
They can hear you. So
Oh!
it's been.
Oh my
passed
god,
on.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Why are they so wonderful? God, this...
Well,
They're
what I
not
want to know
as
is,
nice to Kev himself.
yeah, they're fucking horrible to me.
They're fucking horrible to him. Have you had a shave?
I might have had
Like,
a little.
you're in a
shave,
little
yeah.
box at the bottom and it's quite dark. I can't really see.
Yeah, well,
Have you
I've
just
sort of
kept the
gone.
bottom bit?
Yeah, I've kept a little tuft there.
You can grow more hair on your chin in 1 year than I've grown since I was 14.
Yeah, but you're only like 16, so like, it's fine.
True. That's why you hang around with me.
Oh Jesus Christ! That's
God.
for the Americans. That's legal,
God.
okay? For Americans listening,
I'm finding out a lot about you.
it's fine. It's fine, okay? Technically, no laws were broken.
Technically, the laws were broken.
Oh God! Oh, do you see Elon Musk gone back to loving Trump again? Jesus!
Yeah, it's so cringy. I was a bit too harsh then. Fucking hell.
He called him a
Such
nonce, mate.
dweeb.
Jesus!
It's so funny though, because he's like, oh, guess what? He's a nonce. And it's like, yeah, well, first of all, we kind of knew that, but also, like, you have backed him the entire way.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Not angry that he's a nonce or he's an alleged nonce or whatever. You're not actually angry about that. You're just annoyed at him. So now you've said it, but like, you were fine with it beforehand. So it made him look like really stupid.
Yeah, it's one of the weirder flexes. Like, yeah, I helped a fucking child rapist get elected.
Literally.
Whoa. Okay, mate. Go off, I guess.
Okay, then, let's go.
Good luck. You're going to have a great show.
Bye. Hello and welcome back to Normal Island. I'm Curtis Daly, your host for tonight, and I'm joined by the man himself, Kevin Logan. Kevin, show me some love.
How are you? How are you, Curtis? It's good to be with you.
We can't see him.
I've disappeared.
Don't worry, we've got this on lockdown. Give me a sec. There he is.
Hello, everyone.
Little jump scare there, actually.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just so quickly, this is my fault. To my producer, if you don't mind checking all the layers, going through the comments as well, and making sure you're in the background, if that's fine. Sorry for that. Anyway, Kevin's here. It's all good. We're gonna roll on with the show. This is what we've got coming up for you guys. Winners and losers. Rachel Reeves unveils spending review. He didn't care. That's Darren Jones. He was confronted by a disability activist. The media lied again, as report shows millionaires aren't leaving the UK. And two monsters. UK puts sanctions on extremist Israeli ministers. As always, remember to like the stream. And if you're not a subscriber, then please hit that button. We'll be getting to your comments at the end. So make sure you're busy in chat. I will say it's going to be a slightly shorter comment section because our dear Sarah, the producer, is feeling a little bit under the weather. But let's get on with the show. On to our first story. Rachel Reeves has unveiled her plans in the government spending review. Here are the key takeaways. Overall spending will increase by 2.3% annually, though some departments will still face constraints. Key commitments include 3% annual rise on NHS spending, totalling 29 billion over Parliament, a 39 billion decade-long boost to social housing, and major transport investments across regions. Defence spending will rise, benefiting jobs especially in Scotland, and immigration policies will be toughened with a new border security command and an end to asylum hotel use. Other highlights include £30 billion for nuclear power, £2 billion for AI investment, £13.2 billion for energy-efficient homes, increased police funding, expanded school spending, and enhanced child welfare programmes, including free meals and nursery support. Now, this all sounds pretty good, for Rachel Reeves anyway, including housing. The government has pledged £39 billion. However, looking at the details, it's not quite as good as it sounds. Oh, my voice went a bit funny there. As it sounds, James Schneider on Twitter points out, when you read the headline, you think, finally, investment in social housing. On reading article, you find out it's above inflation rent rises for social tenants for a decade and subsidies for private developers to continue the affordable housing con. Also missing was a focus on poverty and homelessness. Jeremy Corbyn made a statement of the review. Until this government stands up to the corporate elite holding our country to ransom, it will never bring about the change the British public deserves. Today, 4.3 million children are growing up in poverty in the sixth richest country in the world, yet our government still refuses to scrap the two-child benefit cap, one of the leading causes of child poverty. Meanwhile, disabled people are living in fear over the government's welfare cuts. Are we meant to have forgotten and moved on? The government could, if it wanted to, tax the wealthiest in our society. It could end the rip-off of privatisation in healthcare, energy and water. It could take on fossil fuel giants, getting rich off the climate crisis. Instead, today's unambitious statement bakes in decades of inequality, depriving millions of people of the resources they need. As we speak, 250,000 people are homeless. For many of my constituents, the never-ending promise of affordable housing has been a complete con. The government must tell us, will its latest announcement result in proper social housing or subsidies for private developers? When will it get to the heart of the housing crisis and control rents? Having enough food to eat, knowing there's a social care system to look after you, living without fear of eviction, this is what real security means. Instead, the government continues to find endless money for war. The government needs to wake up and its complicity in genocide and stop fueling the conflicts of today and tomorrow. The best path to security is equality, sustainability, and peace. The kind of future is possible. We just need the political will, and we will keep campaigning for a redistribution of wealth and power so that everyone can live in dignity. Well said, Jazza. Kevin, I just want to get your initial thoughts on Rachel Reeves' spending review.
Well, as always, Jeremy Corbyn nailed it. What a prime minister he would have been if only he hadn't been drummed out by fake nonsense.
If only, yeah.
In terms of the spending statement, it was less horrific than it might have been. It certainly, in terms of its tone, I think was a lot better and actually will land a lot better. The comms of it are significantly improved. There's sort of a less overt focus on the kind of Osborne economics side of things, and she's actually trying to put forward ways in which she and her government are trying to help. But as always, with the Starmer government, it's tinkering at the edges. The good things that were done, things like NHS spending and spending on education, again, it's timid, it's weak. It's not really going to have the kind of transformative effect, the change that people actually voted for. It tinkers at the edges, and ultimately, the biggest increases and the biggest sort of winners out of all of this are landlords first and foremost, because the canard of the public housing public housing investment here is that it's not going to be social housing, it's going to be the canard of affordable housing, which in basically no part of the country is actually affordable. They set it so high that it's not affordable, but they still call it affordable. It's bullshit is what it is. Landlords are going to do well out of this, arms manufacturers are going to do well out of this, and the police are going to do well out of this. The three groups who least need the help and are morally the most bankrupt in the nation.
What do you make of the announcement in the review that they are going to increase border security to tackle migrants and hotels?
I mean, they have to sort of put something like that in there as a sop to people. I actually like the policy of ending the use of hotels for migrants, because it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't that way before. The Tories purposefully manufactured this situation in order to cause a hubbub and have a wedge issue for the election. And it backfired on them spectacularly, because it just showed them to be incompetent losers, frankly. But the Labour Party have actually made that situation slightly worse. When they came into office, there was 29,000, and there are now 32,000 in such housing. Which obviously won't go down well with that sector of society they've been so desperate to try and chase with their Enoch Powellisms. But the policy of actually, ending that system is good, I think, because people deserve to be processed one way or the other and dealt with accordingly, not just left in this kind of horrific limbo where they're open to all manner of abuses, including, of course, we know that hundreds and hundreds of children have been essentially stolen and sold into some form of slavery or another. And of course cause all kinds of tensions in society. So it's actually a good policy, and the amount of money they're putting towards it is relatively scant. So if it has any kind of positive impact, then okay, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, they're trying to say now, and Rachel Reeves is saying this is a departure from austerity. I mean, overall spending is 3% annually, but there are certain, they call it constraints. I don't know if this is necessary cutbacks. It probably is cutbacks on other departments. But because overall spending is increasing, technically this isn't an austerity budget.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's not, in a very, if you want to do actually the Oxford English Dictionary defines austerity as, but people don't vote on that basis. That's nonsense. I think it's good that they're now getting this out of their heads that austerity is a big seller on this, because it isn't. People ultimately want investment in communities. Even Conservative voters want investment. Yeah. That's why we've seen Nigel Farage come out and say that he backs the investment in the Scunthorpe plant, and he actually said reversed his previous decision or previous position in support of the Port Talbot steel site as well. People are sick of a country crumbling around us. We've seen the pathetic national embarrassment that is the HS2 project, which has stumbled and bumbled its way along for 30 years now. Basically, as long as I've been alive, we've been talking about building a train line from London to Manchester, and it's not even going to go anywhere near Manchester. We can't even do that. People are sick of it. So even people who are generally fiscally conservative want some actual investment, so that we don't have a country literally, I refer to us as a bus replacement service nation, because that's essentially what we are. We're a crumbling, infrastructureless hellscape, especially outside of London, so to have some of the investment that's been announced in this spending review is welcome, I think. But they are still ultimately doing austerity in a number of other ways, because of the stupid fiscal rules that they placed upon themselves. They act as if they're forces of nature that are unchangeable. No, you impose these rules upon yourself before you even got elected, and you could just get rid of them. It might be embarrassing, it might look bad in the papers short term, but actually what it would do would be free you up to actually invest in communities, and actually would win you votes. You'd be able to not be despised around the country. Imagine that, a Labour Party investing in the people of Britain for the future. Crazy talk.
What confuses me, and I'm hoping you can, clear this up for me, but you mentioned the fiscal rules, right? And these fiscal rules have constrained this Labour government. They've not done things that we want them to do. Even when we drastically lower our expectations, they still don't do that much. And they've cited the fiscal rules. It was only a couple of weeks ago, though, that Rachel Reeves announced billions and billions of pounds. I mean, over £100 billion over Parliament on transport. And it was actually quite a substantial amount of money. Again, it's not revolutionary, but a lot for what we'd expect from Rachel Reeves. And I was thinking, obviously, not that I think in terms of neoliberal economics. I'm not thinking where is the money coming from because I was concerned about that because I don't buy that framing. But I was asking the question, where is the money coming from in terms of her own logic? Well, because she said she's got the fiscal rules. Then she's come out with this extra money. So I'm a bit confused because she says she still sticks to the fiscal rules, but there's suddenly now headroom. Yes,
it's a little thing in politics called lying. That's what this is. Actually not lying, fudging the issue, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's basically redefining the way in which you describe, or the way in which you calculate government deficit, right? So it's, I forget the exact formulation of it, but it used to be that it was all government spending, but now it's you take away government investment from that government investment from that sum, so you can basically redefine the mathematics of it to all of a sudden free up these tens of billions of pounds. It's how, in part anyway, they've funded the increase in defence spending as well as doing the illegal thing of cutting international aid spending, which is literally in the law illegal. The Tories even passed the law, for God's sake, and the Labour Party are now flouting that. But part of the right way in which they've been able to get around that is by redefining it. So if you just redefine what it means to calculate that number, you can still fit inside the fiscal rules. It's a lie, basically. It's in the same way that if you remember the World Bank, when it redefined what the poverty level was, and all of a sudden 2 billion people were lifted out of poverty without receiving a penny in money. It's that sort of thing.
$2 a day,
if you just change the way in which you calculate the initial number, all of a sudden the number's massively different. Yeah, we know, obviously.
Yeah, I agree, because I personally think it is a lie, because when I was reading the article about this extra money in transport, and I was thinking, where's this extra money coming from? And she said, because of our prudent fiscal rules, and because we're so economically competent.
Minus assets, not investments. Sorry, minus assets. Yeah.
Because we're so competent on the economy, the markets have responded well. Therefore, we have extra money, which is clearly a lie.
Obviously,
you don't just suddenly get extra money because the market is favourable to you. No. It's tax and spend. You can choose to tax people more. So
there is a degree to which that can be true over a longer period. Like, for instance, if the bond markets are lower, that allows you to borrow money at a lower rate. That's important, but that's not really what we've seen. We haven't seen a massive fluctuation outside of the kind of turbulence of the Trump tariff nonsense. We haven't really seen a great deal of difference in any of that. They've just basically realised that them going down this Tory austerity line was nonsense. They thought they could sell the country the idea of change and then do no change and people wouldn't notice. And people did notice, and they voted for anyone but them. And all of a sudden, nearly a year now into government, they've realised, actually, the people would quite like us not to make their lives harder. Like, as if you needed to be told that. You're supposed to be professional politicians. This is ridiculous. But here we are.
I mean, like, it's now good. I mean, they're trying to make headlines saying, look, we're ending austerity, we're putting investment in. But James Schneider is right. It's all well and good you saying we're going to put lots of capital into certain infrastructure projects or departments. But as long as privatisation is there, a lot of that money gets eaten up by private contracts. That money basically gets funneled back to private industry and private companies. So the housing market, for example, and the housing policy they've announced, which is 39 billion quid, sounds like quite a bit of money. you have no idea how much of that £39 billion is going to go to ordinary people if you don't build council houses. If you're just going to stick it in private rental sector, and if you're just going to stick it in sort of these private housing development programs, then you're not really, that money isn't funneling to ordinary people who need it.
Yeah, and that we know exactly who it's going to go to. We've seen organisations that represent what's called social landlords. I prefer to think of them as leeches, but whatever. They're called social landlords. And they're ecstatic about this, because that 39 billion is not going to go again into social housing. It's going to go into the private rented sector, as you say, and into affordable housing, which isn't affordable and is still in the private sector anyway, so it doesn't alleviate the massive public housing shortage in any way.
Right, you are. We've actually got 4 stories to cover, so we are going to move swiftly on to our second story. Now, at a town hall event on Saturday, Gigi, a 27-year-old disabled constituent, directly challenged Chief Secretary to the Treasury and Bristol North West MP Darren Jones over the government's proposed cuts to personal independent payment. Holding a banner that said, "PIP, Lifeline, not pocket money," Gigi responded to a previous remark by Jones in which he likened PIP benefits to giving his children pocket money. Gigi also highlighted the case of Jodie Whiting, a 42-year-old woman who died by suicide in 2017, just days after the DWP stopped her disability benefits. A coroner later found that the DWP's decision had contributed to her death. The intervention was organised by Mad Youth Organise and Green New Deal Rising as a part of the latter's Pay Up campaign, which calls on the government to implement wealth taxes to fund public services, climate action, and serve as an alternative to austerity-driven cuts. The confrontation comes as the government reportedly considers softening its planned PIP cuts following strong opposition from Labour MPs. A parliamentary vote on the matter is expected later this month. We also have a video of Gigi challenging Darren Jones.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Darren, but you just announced cuts to affect people like me, disabled people like me. 300,000 people are going to be pushed into poverty. You compared PIP to pocket money. It is not pocket money. It is a lifeline. There are people's lives at risk here. People are going to die. Jodie Whiting, do you know Jodie Whiting? She died housebound and alone because the DWP cut support. Where do you get the richest to pay up and pay and fund for healthcare rather than attack people like us who are already poor and disabled? Shame on you for not speaking up on this. Shame on you. Tax the rich instead of affecting people like us who are already the most vulnerable in society. Shame on you.
Whose side are you on, Darren?
Whose side are you on?
On the super rich. You have a choice. This is going to kill people.
This will kill people.
You have a
People's
choice.
lives in their hands.
You have a choice, Darren.
Now, I caught up with Gigi earlier today and discussed what went down on Saturday. What made you decide to confront Darren Jones?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, so I decided to confront Darren Jones because he is my MP at Bristol North, so I'm part of his constituency, firstly. And secondly, he is Rachel Reeves' deputy at the Treasurer. And currently, his department is pushing cuts that will directly affect people like me, disabled people like me. So these are disability cuts that he has suggested, or the government has suggested. And he also revealed quite a callous attitude behind these cuts by a comment he made a while ago comparing PIP benefits to pocket money. And though I have to say that he has since apologised, I think that's just quite emblematic of how people in this society and in the government still think of people who are disabled or people who need additional support. Like, disabled people are part of the fabric of society. We all know someone who experiences mental illness, has a disability, a chronic condition, or even a terminal condition. This is a reality, and disability and illness is part of everyday life. I actually tend to say that we're all pre-disabled. We all at some point will need support. And we all know someone, whether a friend, a relative, loved one, neighbour, colleague. And I just really strongly believe the state should be supporting us during these difficult times. And the government has historically not listened to disabled people. And I did this mainly because I finally wanted us to be heard, because I think so many people have been trying to have conversations with politicians and just not be heard disabled people's voices are always fobbed off, and that's how it feels. We've historically just not been listened to. And this current proposition, these disability cuts, could push hundreds of thousands of people into economic hardship. And people are already in economic hardship. So I believe the number could be 300,000 people could be pushed into economic hardships if these proposed cuts go through. And I also do want to say that it already is much more expensive to be disabled. So I think it's estimated around £1,000 extra a month on all the living costs associated with disability. And by the way, the highest amount of PIP doesn't cover that. So £1,000 is not possible to get on PIP. And most people get a much smaller amount than that. And I also think another huge misconception around these cuts or disability benefits, especially PIP, is that it's an out-of-work benefit. A lot of people who are on PIP still do work, and in fact, PIP allows them to work. And, I think part of this rhetoric, or part of the reason that the government want to cut disability benefits, as well as the fact that they're making cuts in other parts of government, is trying to push people back into work, because they're saying there's too many people out of work. And I'm telling you, this is not going to work, because PIP allows people to work. PIP is a lifeline for people to be able to work, whether that be through transport, mobility aids, healthcare access. PIP is not an out-of-work benefit, and that's something that people really, really need to understand, and it's not going to push people back into work. And I think just one additional thing, if I may say, recently there was some leaks around some potential access to work changes, which is, so access to work is part of the government's access for people to be able to access work, and they can get job coaches, you can get some support in terms like mobility aids or workplace changes to make it more accessible. And these cuts, these changes, these leaked changes would have an even more worrying effect on disabled people's access to work. So it's really, really a worrying time, and I just felt like something had to be done about it, or I wanted to put my voice out there.
What's the response been like? I mean, did you hear anything back from the government or any official? But also, what's the response been like from, the members of the public?
Yeah, so we did reach out to Darren Jones for comment, and he has not got back to us. We have been ignored, which I'm not that surprised about, to be honest. And in terms of the feedback from the public, it has been widely really, really positive. I will say that I think a lot of people really appreciated it. But there has been a minority, but kind of quite a substantial minority, if that makes sense, of people backlashing. And because I appear able-bodied, people, a lot of comments have been around the fact that I don't look disabled, that I look fine, that I've had comments being like, if she can hold up a banner and walk out the room, then she should be able to work. That there was a good 200 comments, perhaps more, commenting on the fact that I look able-bodied. And I think that, again, is really emblematic of how far we still have to go with the public understanding of disability. So between 70 to 80% of disabilities are invisible. So you just can't see it. You cannot see it. And despite the fact that, like on the London Underground, you'll still see little signs saying not all disabilities are visible, and you see that on toilet doors, etc. We still just have a really long way to go for people to truly understand that. And I think the response to this video really showed me, like, wow, we have to do a lot more campaigning and awareness of the fact that the majority of disabilities are invisible, but that does not mean that they're any less disabling.
Do you think then, given that there is a wide misconception of people with disabilities, as you mentioned, 70 to 80% of people have disabilities that are invisible, right? That the entire media is not covering disability rights and activism enough, and not just the mainstream media, but actually even left-wing media? Do you think that they're still being ignored a lot, and progressive left-wing media needs to do more?
Oh, 100%. I really, really do think that disabled voices are not being heard enough. Again, as you said, not just in the mainstream media, but also in progressive left-wing outlets. I do really think that it's the job of especially the left-wing media, who are obviously covering a lot of progressive issues to make sure that disabled people's voices are being heard, that people who experience mental illness and all types of disability, because obviously disability is one word which covers so many different experiences, but we need our voices to be heard more 100%. And, you know, I'm glad to be seeing some of it. I am seeing some outlets slowly start to talk about it more. And I'm hopefully this will be a bit of a domino effect right now, because obviously it's so present and salient in society, what's happening right now in the UK. I'm hoping that this will springboard the media to start talking about it more and to start spotlighting the issues that are facing disabled people more.
So you were there on behalf of Green New Deal, Rising and Mad Youth. Can you tell us a little bit about these campaigns?
Yeah, absolutely. So Green New Deal are a youth movement and they are fighting for a Green New Deal. So that's a bold plan essentially to stop the climate crisis and tackle inequality through mass public investment. We know this, we need to fund the public investment, and one of the big ways that Green New Deal are wanting to do that is through fair taxation. So that means asking the super rich to pay their fair share. And they have just launched their Pay Up campaign to demand the government introduce wealth taxes on the booming fortunes of the super rich. So stop cuts and invest in climate action, affordable homes, good schools, good hospitals, and an economy where everyone can thrive. And Mad Youth Organise is a campaign led by young people with lived experience of mental distress and madness, so myself included in that. And we are organising to build a collective response to the crisis we're facing, and we're calling out the corporate drivers of the youth mental health crisis and the systemic issues that are contributing to the worsening state of mental illness and mental health in the UK. Right now, as you can tell by the protests we just did, we're directing our energy towards organising to oppose the cuts to disability benefits.
So I just switched to you, host, and then
young people
it automatically
and young
back to
people
me,
who
so.
live with
oh
mental
yeah, it does also
illness.
switch. Sweet.
I just want to finally ask you: is this something that you expected from a Labour government?
No, I mean, absolutely not. I think I'm not alone in being totally horrified in the consistent U-turns that the government has been doing since coming into power. It's certainly not, I think, the Labour Party that most people voted in, and it's not the Labour Party that a lot of us have ever imagined would end up being the Labour Party. And I think it's really, really saying how disillusioned people are becoming of Labour, and the trust is being lost at a really alarming rate. And it's really worrying. There's no doubt that it has a strong correlation with the rise in reform and the rise in far-right sentiment as a backlash to this. It's incredibly disappointing and, to be honest, really, really terrifying.
I have to say, fair play to Gigi. I think it takes guts to really stand up, especially to an MP in front of those people. You're putting yourself out there. So I have a lot of respect for Gigi. That comment as well by Darren Jones about PIP being pocket money. I know he apologised, but it was absolutely disgusting. Should have never been said in the first place. Kevin, what do you make of this challenge to Darren Jones?
I loved it, and I want to say thank you to Gigi for having the bravery and the backbone to stand up like this, because I think we need much more of this. I genuinely do.
Hopefully they're watching. Shout out to Gigi.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair play to you. Because if Darren Jones, who for me sums up the kind of briefcase bureaucrat wanker that's destroying this country, if people like him, who just because he's wearing a suit and tie get away with social murder, we need to make sure these people, whenever they're out in public, they never know a day's peace again in their lives. If they're going to insist on stamping down on the least powerful and the least able to defend themselves whilst doing the bidding of the richest constantly, if they're going to aid and abet the genocide of the people of Gaza, if they're going to oversee the country's destruction, both in terms of its physical infrastructure and its kind of, social infrastructure, these people should never know a day's peace ever again. I want to see far more of this, far more direct action to show them how disgusted we are with them, how unpopular they are, and how they need to change their policies, fundamentally. And so, big up to Gigi and those organisations. We need a lot more of that.
Yeah, and speaking to Gigi, because I asked them about the public response to. I mean, obviously, we can talk about the policy. We can talk about Darren Jones. We know that Labour's policy on PIP and welfare is nothing short of disgusting. But the public response, I mean, Gigi told me there's been a lot of positive response, but the loud minority was saying, well, you're clearly not disabled, right? You're scrounging. And they made a very good point that it's not always visible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mental health is, I mean, really the great health scourge of the nation that just goes completely untreated. Government after government will make kind of nice noises about it around election time and then invest absolutely nothing in it. We basically don't have a mental health care system in this country. And as to the point you made there about the loud minority, there really is an element within this country of like the crabs in the bucket type thing, you know, the people who are constantly trying to drag down others. But also I feel slightly sorry for a lot of those people too, because they're as big a victims of the manufacturing consent machine as anybody else. They've been taught all of their lives that these people who are desperate in society are actually scroungers. Rather than being the victims of the society, they are somehow the benefactors of the society. And accordingly they vote against their own best interests constantly. That's why the Conservative Party have ever received any votes in this country, and why the Reform Party are currently leading in the polls, because the media sells the British public a pack of lies.
Yeah, and also in terms of visibility and disabilities, there's also physical disabilities that aren't always visible. Sometimes when it comes to chronic illness or anything like that, it's not always like constant 24/7. Sometimes it can flare up and be worse than others. So people might be like, well, this person's clearly able-bodied. They're actually quite athletic. And again, like I do kind of sympathise with those who are sort of being propagandised, or not even propagandised, who just don't realise, because obviously, you know, to someone who doesn't know much about disabilities and about the work that activists do and awareness of it, you know, you can understand the logic by saying, you know, you look at someone who clearly is physically abled and they're saying they're disabled, and you go, well, clearly they're not. It's an ignorant like point of view to have. It's why it's so important to sort of platform these issues.
It is, absolutely. Although, of course, it's worth bearing in mind that the government's plans include people who are obviously going to be very visibly disabled as well.
Absolutely.
People who literally can't clean below their own waist without assistance. That's not something that one can really hide all that well. So it's the government are going to go after everybody, because all disabled people, I should say, because this is not about helping out anybody. I mean, Gigi made the very good point that this won't help disabled people back into work, but of course the point is that it's not meant to. It's just meant to be punitive. It's just meant to attack the least able to fight back in society, rather than putting a tiny amount of tax on the absolutely grotesque amounts of money being stockpiled by the richest 100 people in the country.
Absolutely. We're going to move on, but before we go on to our next story, I just want to say, if you're enjoying the stream, then please give it a like and make sure you are subscribed too. If you want us to grow, then you can head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There is a link to our Patreon where you can support us monthly, or follow the other link to give us a one-time contribution. Alternatively, you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. Now, we are facing a global oligarchy, and now more than ever do we need radical independent media. So please help wherever you can. On to our next story. A study by the Tax Justice Network has found that the idea of mass amounts of millionaires leaving due to taxes is a complete media overhype. The media reporting, consisting of over 10,900 news pieces across print, broadcast and online news in 2024, was primarily based on a report published by Henley and Partners, a firm that sells golden passports to the super rich and advises governments on setting up such schemes. The European Court of Justice recently ruled one such scheme, that of Malta, to be unlawful. The Tax Justice Network's review, co-published with Patriotic Millionaires UK and Tax Justice UK, of the Henley report finds that the number of millionaires claimed by Henley and Partners to be leaving countries in exodus in 2024 represented near 0% of those countries' millionaire populations. For example, the 9,500 millionaires widely reported to be leaving the UK in 2024 represented 0.3% of the UK's 3.06 millionaires, or million millionaires rather. Now, who are Henley and Partners? Well, maybe this will give you some insights. Henley and Partners was accused in a 2018 UK parliamentary inquiry of meddling in the elections of Caribbean nations in return for the exclusive rights to sell golden passports. Henley and Partners told The Guardian it fundamentally rejects any allegation of wrongdoing. A recent Financial Times article identified an EU-sanctioned Russian businessman with links to the Ukraine invasion who could more easily circumvent travel restrictions due to a Maltese golden passport Henley helped him acquire in the past. Kevin, the media keeps on saying if you tax the rich, they'll just leave. Now, does this report completely blow it all out of the water?
Are you telling me, Curtis, that rich people who own newspapers and don't pay any money because they're non-domiciled or based in Monaco are lying to us by saying that if you tax rich people, they'll leave when they've already left? Yeah, this is the 100th occasion upon which the capital flight myth has been disproven. We know it's complete rubbish, but again, as with the previous statement, it's the manufacturing consent lie, constantly, over and over and over again, to inculcate in the people that we can't tax the rich. We can't do that. That would be terrible. They'll all leave. No, they won't. Of course they won't. We've seen this in a number of instances whenever we've seen these kind of wealth taxes introduced. We find out that actually the physical mobility of billionaires and millionaires is actually pretty low. They like where they are and they'll stay where they are. As within reason, of course. If you institute, I don't know, full-scale communism or something, they might want to leave at some point during that. But we're talking about really, minor changes. The Greens were suggesting, 2% tax? And basically that wouldn't have made any billionaires leave. As much as, they can leave and their money can stay, as far as I'm concerned. They're worthless human beings. But we know this is complete rubbish. And it's the media, again, selling us a lie and undermining the seriousness with which they're treated, because it's the same millionaires who run these papers who pay other people, sometimes of whom are millionaires as well, and it's the same privately educated old boy network of people who all believe exactly the same thing, pumping out lie after lie after lie. And again, just credulously just accepting this Henley and Partners trash, when any investigative journalism would have showed that this information was obviously flawed. We saw that a lot of their estimates were based on where millionaires on social media said they would move to if this happened, and they were never tracked if they ever did. They were never tracked physically at all. So it was just what some idiot said on social media was enough to create this crazy scare and make people vote, again, against their best interests.
This is one of the more blazing pieces of propaganda, right?
Yeah,
when it comes to media bias, some of it is a bit more nuanced, where they're not consciously putting out propaganda. It's the sort of Noam Chomsky line, right?
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where they know exactly what they're doing, because 9,500 millionaires apparently left out of 3 million, which is what it says, 0.3%, right? Usually when you cover stories, you look at the broader trends. The story should be, it shouldn't even be a study into it. The story should be, most people don't leave, or at least people claiming they're going to leave, they haven't done it yet. But that is, it's such a blatant piece of propaganda, because of course, as you said at the beginning of this bit, the same people, the billionaires or the multimillionaires, whoever, own the newspapers, own the media. So it's very good that they basically tell the population, don't tax the rich, they'll leave. But the thing is, right, even if there was a mass migration of individual millionaires, that doesn't matter, because what matters are assets.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's the consolidation of the media in the hands of a very small number of people who all have exactly the same class interests. All of them. They're all in exactly the same situation. Even ones who run relatively quote-unquote liberal newspapers have incredibly right-wing economic perspectives. They're just okay with gays or whatever. And so they all publish the same rubbish. And very few of them are even based in the UK. The Sun Media Group is based in the United States. The ownership group of the Daily Mail is based in Monaco. There are loads of them who are based basically anywhere but the UK. So they're not even paying taxes here. And what a surprise, this study came out and was credulously cited by the government, then run by Rishi Sunak, whose wife initially came here on the basis of a non-domiciled US passport anyway. It's just a cavalcade of corruption from start to finish.
To put it very, very simply for people, it is just a class issue. There is a class solidarity among the media barons, the robber barons, the billionaires, right, the tax avoiders. They got that amazing little class solidarity. They all work together. You know, they all work together in political parties or across political parties. As we can see, Labour, the Tories, Reform, all sing for the same hymn sheet, which is being, puppets of the corporations, right? But the working class and the middle class, unfortunately, don't have the same sort of solidarity. We are split up and cut over culture issues or being angry at people on benefits or whatever it is. But the very richest in society, right, they know exactly what they're doing. They're using their class solidarity to beat us over and over again.
Well, I mean, the old adage about, was it, if you're against any kind of wealth tax, you're either a millionaire or an idiot. Look in your wallet and see which one.
That's a good line, actually. That's a very good line. It's 8:15, so we are going to move on to our final story. The UK has put sanctions on 2 Israeli ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich. These 2 individuals are arguably the most extreme voices in the Knesset. Ben-Gvir, the security minister in Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition government, and Smotrich, the finance minister, will face travel bans and have any assets in the 5 countries frozen. It was stressed that they were being sanctioned in their personal capacity, placing no restrictions on the ministries they lead. Netanyahu has promised to retaliate. David Lammy, along with foreign ministers of Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway, announced the sanctions in a joint statement. We are steadfastly committed to the 2-state solution and will continue to work with our partners towards its implementation. Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. These actions are not acceptable. This is why we have taken action now to hold those responsible to account. Now, no surprises that this has drawn criticism from the US. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the United States condemns the sanctions imposed by the government of United Kingdom, Canada, Norway, New Zealand and Australia on 2 sitting members of the Israeli cabinet. These sanctions do not advance US-led efforts to achieve a ceasefire, bring all hostages home and end the war. Lucky I didn't say sausages then. We reject any notion of equivalence. Hamas is a terrorist organisation that committed unspeakable atrocities, continues to hold innocent civilians hostage, and prevents the people of Gaza from living in peace. We remind our partners not to forget who the real enemy is. The United States urges the reversal of the sanctions and stands shoulder to shoulder with Israel. Now, who are these 2 individuals? Itamar Ben-Gvir is a far-right Israeli politician and lawyer who has been serving as the Minister of National Security since 2025. In August 2023, Ben-Gvir stated that his family's right to free movement in the West Bank was more important than the freedom of movement for Palestinians. He declared, "My rights, the right of my wife and my children to move around Judea and Samaria is more important than the freedom of movement for the Arabs." Ben-Gvir is also known for displaying a picture of Baruch Goldstein on his wall, the American Israeli who murdered 29 Palestinian worshippers in Hebron in 1994. Now, those are just 2 of many instances of his extreme views. Bezalel Smotrich is an Israeli politician and lawyer. He has held the position of Minister of Finance since 2022. In August 2024, Smotrich suggested that starving Gaza's 2 million residents could be justified and moral, stating that Israel lacked international legitimacy to do so, but lamenting that no one in the world will let us starve and thirst 2 million citizens, even though it will be just and moral until they return our hostages. In March 2023, Smotrich claimed that there is no such thing as a Palestinian nation, there is no Palestinian history, there is no Palestinian language, dismissing the Palestinian identity as fictitious people invented to oppose Zionism. In April 2024, Smotrich called for the total annihilation of Palestinian areas in Gaza, including Rafah, Deir al-Balah and Nusayrat, stating there is no place for them under heaven. 2 utter scumbags, 2 monsters. Kevin, what is your response to these sanctions? Are you surprised, first of all? And What do you think this means going forward?
I am a little surprised, although pleasantly so. At the very least, it's the least and probably, unfortunately, the most they will do.
Yes.
It's clearly right that they've gone after these two particular monsters because they are just that, genuinely evil, genocidal lunatics. But in terms of the actual actions being done here, it does lead to more questions than answers, it seems to me. Firstly, why now exactly? Why after 18 months? Well, actually, it's been 80 years. But in terms of these two individuals, let's say, the October the 7th incident and all the rest of it, it's been 18 months now. Why now are you coming out and saying it? They were saying all of this kind of evil stuff back then. Why is it that now it's so much of a problem? What is it about the current situation that's so extreme compared to how it was 2 months ago that you're now reacting in this way? I'm not entirely sure what they think they're going to get out of this, really. But, I mean, again, just on a basic legal and moral level, the action itself in complete isolation is fine. It's just peculiar timing. Secondly, it now leads to the British government's position being absolutely untenable, legally speaking. Their whole position was that they are able to continue selling weapons to the Israeli government because it hasn't been found definitively guilty of genocide or anything like that, which is technically true, albeit that several of their ministers currently have arrest warrants from the ICC out on them, so there's that, that little snafu. But secondly, you've now said that both Smotrich and Ben-Gvir have been sanctioned as people because of their genocidal language. And so you've got people who are ministers in a government who you believe to be genocidal, but you're going to continue to sell weaponry to that genocidal cabinet. How the hell can that possibly be justified? How can that possibly be justified under any legal pretext whatsoever? It's ridiculous. How can you also be having reconnaissance flights from RAF Akrotiri daily to give information on how to better facilitate that genocide to that genocidal cabinet? How can that possibly be okay, ever?
I mean, that's why it's so performative, because in that, in the article I quoted, they said, we stress this is on a personal capacity. It's nothing to do with their ministry departments. And it's them basically saying, all right, we recognise that Ben-Gvir and Smotrich are at least more outwardly spoken in their extremist language. And I think it's another way of trying to cover for Israel and Zionism, because it's like, they are not attacking Israel necessarily. They're not attacking the ideology of Zionism or what they're doing in the occupation. It's basically saying, these two people are really, really extreme. And of course, it is good to see people hold certain individuals to account, because these two people are genuine monsters.
Yeah.
But they're also, I feel like, giving cover, because they're saying we need to individualize this. We need to focus on these two people. But also, as you correctly pointed out, we're still going to send arms to them though.
Yeah, exactly. What about the rest of the Israeli cabinet?
Absolutely.
Literally, Benjamin Netanyahu, at the very start of this, talked about Moloch from the Bible, right? Literally talked just straightforward genocidal rhetoric from the very, very beginning. It's madness that you're going to hive off these two individuals. They had a debate in the Knesset about the rights and wrongs, mostly rights apparently, of Israelis to rape Palestinian prisoners. They had a pro-rape debate in the Knesset. They kicked out the Arabs for daring to oppose that point of view, by the way. Those were rejected from the Knesset chamber that day. This is not a government, or frankly a society, that is just a few bad apples. It's rotten to its very core. We've seen from the public pronouncement, the public polling in Israel, that huge swathes of Israeli society believe these things. There's something at the core of it that's poisoned, that's rotten. And the worst outcroppings of that are people like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. But you need a root and branch approach to this. And just doing piecemeal a few sanctions here and there. And again, as private citizens, not even as government ministers, just private citizens. It's embarrassing. This is the best you can do after 18 months of slaughter. And also, just a quick one to Marco Rubio, eat my dick, mate. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. You can criticise it all you like. You say, know who the enemy is. I know who my fucking enemy is. It's Israel, and it's you. The US government are the worst of it. The US government have facilitated this from the very beginning. They are the only government that could realistically stop it. They have blood on their hands.
I could not have said that any better. I can feel the anger coming from you because it is, and especially Marco Rubio really pissed me off. This fucking weasel, absolute weasel, saying, "Oh no, don't sanction these people. We need to stand shoulder to shoulder with the fucking Israeli genocidal state."
He literally said in the thing, "This isn't helping the US-led thing for a ceasefire." Well, you don't seem to be doing much your fucking selves.
Oh, that's a lie. He doesn't give a shit about ceasefire.
Well, exactly, of course. Yeah, well, I mean, we all know that. But at least in theory, he's saying, like, oh, we're trying to get a ceasefire together. Well, you're not being very fucking successful. You know? You're not doing it, so someone else should do something, surely. Or do we just allow it to just run and run forever? I know that's what you actually want, because you're a sick bastard. But I think the rest of the world should try and stop this, actually.
Little Marco, as Jim Speak says. Very good, though. Agree with everything you said. But we're going to leave it there, and we're going to bring in our producer and go to some of your comments. I'm sure there are going to be some really, really good ones. Hello, Sarah. You're on mute.
Not me going, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
Just talking to myself. Hello, everyone. I was talking to myself, I was like, hello, everyone, can you hear me? And then you literally like, you're on mute. Embarrassing. Really, really good to be here. What a great show. And I just felt like everything that Kev was saying, you hit the nail on the head. So let's go to comments. Let's start from the story we were just talking about. Jacqueline said, sounds like Starmer and Lammy are doing the legal bare minimum. And I agree. There was another comment actually made where someone said, I can link this actually quite nicely. There'll be pictures shaking hands with Lammy tomorrow. And it made me laugh because I just don't trust Lammy. I despise him personally. But it does feel like...
It wouldn't be out the realms of possibility, though, in our timeline, would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't. And you said, you kind of hit the nail on the head. It just feels very, very performative. It feels as though they're doing the bare minimum. They're like, hey, yeah, we know that these extremists over there need to be sanctioned. But I'm like, Netanyahu's an extremist. His cabinet are extremists. Like, the genocide that's happening is extreme. How are these sanctions not happening to everyone that surrounds this awful unfolding in Gaza? So yeah, what did you guys want to say on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if Ben Gvir and Smotrich are being genocidal, then surely Benjamin Netanyahu is by having them in his cabinet, right?
Literally, it's a very good point. He's appointed them. Yeah, and I mean, even if they want to be consistent, why aren't they sanctioning Netanyahu on a personal capacity? But I suppose that's what they mean, though. Is like, well, Netanyahu hasn't said these outrageous things. He's done it in he's employed these people in official capacity. So I guess that doesn't cross the line of personal capacity. But this whole personal capacity is just utter bullshit anyway. You shouldn't just be sanctioning what they say. You need to be sanctioning what they fucking do and what they represent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just wild.
Yeah, super wild. So we'll go on to the next story, which was about your third story. And Jacqueline said, I think instead of eat the rich, it should be don't clean for the rich, don't cook for the rich, don't drive for the rich, don't live a thing for the rich until they start treating us better. And I also completely agree with that. I'm just like, I think you've spoken about this so often, Curtis, this whole idea that capital flight is a myth, and it's not something that I think we should be afraid of. I think I've always said, like, hey, if you want to fuck off, then just fuck off. Like, just go. I'm sorry. If a few leave, so what? Like, good riddance. I think the goal of taxation isn't actually to please billionaires. It's to fund schools and hospitals and housing. And the idea that policy for like 99.9% of the population should be held hostage by the stupid tantrums of a tiny elite is absurd. So I think if your economic model just relies on appeasing billionaires, then I'm sorry, that's oligarchy.
Our fucking tax code is written by these arseholes. They're literally written by them by way of lobbying governments and giving donations to political parties. Even if they don't implicitly literally say this is what the tax code should be, just by giving money to political parties and giving them access to government, because that's what it kind of is, right? Elections are won on, especially more in America, elections are won on how much money you spend. There's an implicity there, which is like, okay, you're going to look after us? So they basically write our fucking tax codes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Carl said, why is it when we talk about people taking advantage of systems, it's always people in need? Why don't we make people justify their profits? It's just assumed to be a good thing. What do you guys make of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Elon Musk is the biggest welfare queen in the history of the world. Why is that okay for him, but someone who wants, So, like, I've got no problem if someone. This is technically a crime, but if someone wants to falsely claim unemployment benefit, all power to them. I don't give a fuck. They're trying to survive. You know.
Do you know what, Carl? That's a really good point, because if companies or individuals do tax, I can't remember between the avoidance and evasion. One of them's illegal, one of them's like technically legal, right? The technically legal one, right? And people do that. You get a lot of people say, well, they're just sort of gaming the system. That's what they're doing. They're doing. I don't know. There's an excuse there made for them, right? But when it's someone who's poor, it's like, how fucking dare you? Well, why don't we respond to that saying, well, good for them, Yeah. And to touch upon what Kevin just said about not giving a fuck about people fraudulently claim benefits, right? For me, my priority is those with power, right? And I think at the moment, when we have individuals and corporations destroying our planet through pollution, exploiting workers en masse, paying people pittance, not paying their taxes, and basically rigging elections, which is what's happening globally. In America, once again, Elon Musk just bought that election, right? Then if you want to tell me to be angry at someone who might be claiming like £20 a week off the state, I don't feel angry about that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I endorse doing financial crimes, right? I'm not saying you should do that, but you can't expect me to be angry. I know why you're smiling there, Kev.
I don't say that people should commit crimes at all. I don't. I'm certainly not saying commit crimes. No.
Absolutely, yeah. but you can't ask me to give a fuck. I love your little smile, Kev. But you cannot ask me to care about that. I think people will try and put that back on you. I'm like, I don't care. I do not care. Like, at the end of the day, it's far less amount of money than what the corporations and the billionaires are stealing off the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have some perspective, man.
Have some fucking perspective. Literally. Oh, what a line. That's a banger. So James Holmes, thank you. Oh my god, my laptop's bugging out. Can you guys see it? Did it come through?
No, I can't see.
Oh my god, why is my laptop
just can you read it out to us?
Yeah, he just literally gifted 5
Oh, here we go. Oh, thank you, James. A regular in here and a regular giver as well. So much
regular giver. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Yeah, so there was lots of I want to bring up the comments that were bigging up Gigi, but I'll just bring up Edward's really quickly. And it was that a Green New Deal is the absolute minimum that we need to save us. It needs to be the springboard. Oh my God, Sarah, goodness me. The springboard to wider systemic change and a transition to a socialist post-capitalist society. And I couldn't agree more with that. I think this is the direction we need to be moving into. I want people to be saved. I want people to be okay. I don't want us to be constantly suffering. And it seems that we're in this constant state of suffering at the moment. And it's grating on me. I mean, even when I was watching the news today and they were talking about the winners and the losers of what Reeves is putting out there, I was like, why do there have to be losers? Because the losers is always going to be us as working people. You don't have to doesn't have to be anything. It's not like rocket science. But yeah, Edward's always making really, really great points. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, Jim said to Gigi, diamond level charisma here and a great communicator, and I completely agree. And then Andrew said
Curtis is pretty good. Yeah, that is true.
No, Curtis is okay. But that was I'm joking.
I don't match up to the great Gigi,
True.
No, Curtis is great, but Gigi really kills it. She has the flair for protest, and I completely agree with that. So
and we may have them on in the future.
Yes, fingers crossed. But yeah, then Jim also said these loud minorities love to size people up at a glance. They're simple people who love simple answers, like you look okay to me. And that was coming off the comment that Gigi was making about that people seem to think that all disabilities are visible. This whole idea that, oh, if you look okay, then surely you can't be disabled. Like, how are we still in the 21st century in 2025 still stuck on that?
The thing is, though, you can forgive people's ignorance, right? But what I don't understand is, like, and I'm just speaking personally, right? Let's say that I thought like that. Let's say that I was quite ignorant and I thought basically, if you see someone who's running around and you say, well, obviously they're not disabled, you don't know what they're going through the next day, right? If that went through my head, I categorically tell you, I wouldn't go and say that to them because I feel like I was just being rude. And this is what I don't understand. So, again, kind of forgive the ignorance, especially when we don't really have an informative media, especially when these sorts of protests and the work on disability rights isn't covered very much. I get that. But, like, why do you then have to say it to people? Because you just feel like you're being like a kind of an arsehole. I wouldn't, even if I thought like that. I'd just be like, well, I'm just not going to say anything because why would I? How does that benefit my life? How does it benefit anyone else? I just feel like you're just being rude for the sake of it.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And I think we need to start having. I think we need to be putting people who are disabled at the forefront when it comes to this. I think their voices, and they said it so brilliantly that their voices are always pushed to the side. They are such a silenced minority, and I think that really needs to change. Jacqueline was kind of echoing that. This whole idea, the rules around PIP and UC and other benefits, not sure if benefits is the right word, but can't think of another at the moment, are extremely unfair. And it's true. And actually, not to quote you, Curtis, but you'd actually made such a great point in that GB News clip, like that we don't actually have a generous welfare system, and there is no direct correlation between a quote unquote generous welfare system and people who are in work, because we have a welfare system where people are topping up because they can't afford to just work.
I mean, it was Helena who told me about this a while back. She basically said it's called the labour force participation rate, which basically means like the percentage of working age people in work, right? And basically, in Denmark, loads of people work, essentially. So, like, 75 to 80% of people who can work, or in the working age cohort, are working. Whereas in our country, it's far lower. But Denmark has a far higher welfare state, or far more generous welfare payments. So Helena told me that fact, and obviously, when I was with that person on GB News, right, I told them that because she just...
You were on the telly?
Yeah,
the telly box. Yeah.
I have to get your autograph.
Yeah.
I'll send it in the mail. But the point I'm trying to make though is that Jacqueline Foster, she was like, people just lazy around doing nothing. Just the whole boomer hole, just benefit scrounger shit, right? And I literally said, but it's higher in Denmark, yet more people are working. So clearly there's not a correlation.
I don't look at data.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in the UK, our welfare payments, despite what it's probably popular opinion suggests, right? I think if you would ask the majority of the people that would say, oh, it's far too high, right? Media propaganda for you. It is low. It's like we're one of the lowest welfare payments in Europe. No, it's just not high. I've been on UC. I've been on disability benefits myself. I can tell you it's fucking abysmal. But it's not just the actual payments, right? It's the rules behind it, which makes it very difficult to claim. And they're so grossly unfair.
They are so grossly unfair. And the fact of the matter is, we live in an ableist world. We live in a world that is so against disabled people that it's actually fucking hard trying to navigate a world that unfortunately isn't accessible enough. And they're making it even more inaccessible when they're trying to access top-ups like PIP or the welfare state as a whole. So yeah, and I also think that there's an air of shame around it, that they try to shame you into needing a top-up, or make you feel like, what are you doing coming here wanting more money when actually the world's fucking shit. So this is a good question from Andrew, because it was from the Reeves story. What is their actual plan to house immigrants? I don't actually know. Do you guys know?
I think they basically plan on kicking a lot of them out, to be honest.
And then happens.
Well, I mean, literally, like they'll get rejected and then extradited to X country. They're trying to do a kind of halfway Rwanda thing with Albania, apparently, or various other places, which is basically like with Rwanda. It was even if you were successful in your application for asylum, you would be sent to Rwanda as a kind of Britain abroad type thing. Whereas with this one, it's literally just going to have like a processing centre, and then you'll be instantly shipped to Albania or wherever. You know, it's the same racist approach to the same problem leads to the same basic outcome. Garbage in, garbage out. I mean that in terms of the philosophy.
In terms of how
they're
how they're seen. Yeah. I mean, I feel like using the word performative is so overused for me, but it's so relevant in today's politics that when Keir Starmer and the Labour government or Labour Party then, because obviously they're in opposition, they were so angry at Rishi Sunak for the Rwanda scheme, which, by the way, most of their wording was unworkable, not immoral. They basically done another one. Okay, it's not Rwanda,
well, yeah, because
the same principle applies, doesn't it?
Well, this was my concern when they first got in, and a lot of the kind of sycophants were saying, "See, they got rid of the Rwanda thing," but it was the reasons they got rid of it.
Yes.
It wasn't because it was an abomination. It wasn't because it was illegal. It wasn't because of any of that moral or legal stuff. It was because it was an inefficient way of being racist. Basically,
pretty much.
Agreed.
like there were financially more prudent ways of doing your horrible white supremacist bullshit. Like, what is that? That's the change we voted for, is it? Rwanda, but more cost effective for the taxpayer. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous.
That's literally bang on.
No, completely agree with you. But that's it for the comments. Really, really great show, guys. You guys did incredible as per usual.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank
as
you.
usual. Okay, it's 9:15. That is all we have time for. Thank you to our viewers who tuned in, and of course, thank you to Kevin for joining me tonight. I love having you on.
Thank you for having me, Curtis. It's beautiful.
When we eventually go to streaming 5 days a week, we'll get you on more as well. Love your insights.
Always.
Love your energy. Love the way you look. I would say love the way you smell, but I can't smell you across.
Well, it's been a hot day today.
It has been a hot day, isn't it?
It's been unpleasant.
Remember to like the stream if you're not a subscriber. Then hit that button. Also, come back and leave a comment as well. That does help the algorithm. Again, if you want us to grow, then you can head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There is a link to our Patreon where you can support us monthly, or follow the other link to give us a one-time contribution. Alternatively, you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. We are going to raid into Kevin's stream, so don't go anywhere. You're going to be automatically transported over, or you might see me and Sarah over there anyway. But thank you again. I'm Curtis Daly, and I will see you next time.
Sorry.
Support independent media.
Kyle Corbyn!
Sorry.
There on social media. Thank you. Turn left.
We did, yeah.
Sick.
That guy's such a legend.
You talked all over my Kyle Corbyn. How dare you?
You definitely did the fucking Hale Corbyn, didn't you?
Of course.
Oh, bloody
Standard,
hell.
mate.
Great show, guys.
Let's,
really, really good.
Oh, you ended it. Cool. Right, so they're all over to you now.
Hello, everyone.
Let's bring you back up on...
I'm putting my fan back on because I'm sweating balls here. Jesus.
It's hot.
You coming on screen, or are you going to skip it out? Sarah?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I cannot come on screen. Oh my god, I look
Alright.
like shite. But honestly, I'm gonna go like sleep because I think the antihistamines make me really sleepy. So, but you guys did such a great show. I'm just so
Thank you.
happy I got to share the space with you
Thank you
guys.
for producing. I didn't know you were feeling under the weather, because I would have tried to get someone else to
No,
do
oh
it.
my god, no. Listen, producing's easy. You don't have to show your face.
True.
And I don't have to do my hair, so I can look crazy and no one will know. And I
Well,
can also-
actually, me and Kev can see you.
I
And
can
actually,
see
Yeah.
it.
are you? Is Sarah on your screen?
Yeah,
Or
I
are you
can
cropped
see,
in?
I can see the little.
But
screen
can your viewers see Sarah?
No.
Okay.
God
just
forbid.
I was thinking,
the
shit.
main screen.
God
I've got.
Oh,
forbid.
right.
I'd be ruined. I'd be ruined.
That's
if
it. You'd be
they-
found out.
See,
I've
now I'm
found out.
tempted. I could zoom in and everything, but I won't. I will respect your
Kevin,
wishes.
Thank you so much. And also, you'd never come on Turn Left again, and that's my
Fair
jurisdiction.
enough.
No, I'm
Fair
joking. I'm joking. No, okay, I'm gonna go. But thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
I'm gonna
Bye.
watch you, Kevin. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I got a message from being invited on Patrick Christie's team show.
Oh, okay.
Yay!
Nah.
Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Nah, I ain't doing that one.
Why not? What's wrong with Patrick? What's wrong with Pat? What's wrong with Paddy Christ?
Oh, he's. Well, I don't know. I'll see. Yeah, no, good show. I feel like, you know what? I actually I need to apologise to you because we were supposed to do a stream together and I was too hungover.
Oh, that was ages ago, yeah. And
I
then
know.
last week you invited me and I was dying. I couldn't.
That's
fucking
not a
drink.
fucking excuse, was it? Right? I expect you to be here.
I wouldn't. You barely would have been able to understand me. I was fucking hallucinating and shit. Yeah.
That's all right.
Can't
As
stop.
long as you got your face on screen, that's what gets our numbers. Don't worry. When we put these clips out,
Yeah.
you know, they're
That's
waiting for
true.
the Kev
That's
Cab.
true.
What stories do you come in tonight after this?
I'm gonna watch PMQs because I only watched the what do you call it, the financial statement thing, but I didn't watch PMQs before. I didn't want to ruin my good time.
True. I don't know how you how do you put yourself through PMQs? You and Helena watch it, and I'm just thinking,
It's just
I can't do it.
I think it's sort of, you've got to think of it like you've got to pretend that democracy doesn't matter and that this shambolic insult to the British people isn't real.
Right.
Just treat it like a piece of stage theatre rather than like, you know, the actual denigration of the august chamber of the British Parliament. You know?
Do you think, because I haven't been keeping up with PMQs,
Yeah.
I'll only read the reports afterwards.
Mm.
Has Starmer got better?
He's got a little bit better, but that's only because he's up against an absolute
Kemi
non-entity. Like, literally, she's fucking useless.
Did you expect her to be as bad as she is?
No, because she speaks quite confidently about things she doesn't understand. And that's sort of all you need in British politics. But she's so bad at this. She doesn't seem to understand. Like,
What?
She literally mentioned Chagos twice in a question about the winter fuel allowance, and I'm just like, you don't know what you're doing, do you?
Well, not gonna lie, that's such a culture war from the right that they're now just trying to.
But no one gives a fuck.
Like,
It's
insert
obvious no
Chagos.
one cares.
Yeah, no one fucking cares. No one, like, you don't go to the doorstep and they go, oh, do you know what, those bloody Chagos Islands? No one cares about that. But that is
Yeah.
supposedly like a right-wing culture war that they just want to sort of beat Starmer with the stick. But the thing is with Kemi, I found when she was running for leader, I found her in terms of performance-wise quite good, right? Obviously, she was her ass. But I thought she seemed very good, very confident. She was very clear and concise.
Yeah.
And was far superior to Robert Jenrick. But as soon as she's become leader, she has been abysmal.
She's been appalling, yeah. And not just that, but she's been appalling without even releasing policy yet. She hasn't actually stated anything she believes. She's just sort of... She goes from one weird stumble to the next, whether it's going on about like sandwiches being gay or attacking Doctor Who or whatever. Just
Sandwiches
weird.
being gay.
No, do you not remember that? It was one of the early things. She was going on
Yeah.
about, I don't have sandwiches or something. I have steak for tea. Or you're like, what, for lunch? During the day you have a steak? The fuck are your bowels like? Jesus Christ.
And don't get me wrong, I don't think I've got the best diet in the world, but I wouldn't, unless I'm going out for like lunch to a pub, I'm not gonna have a steak. That is such red meat for like the right wing.
Well, exactly.
Audience,
It's what
isn't it? I've got steak for dinner.
It's what she
or
thinks like meathead idiots
and
want
it's
to
obviously
hear.
not true as well.
Well, obviously not true. There's no way she's not tackling
having a
a
side salad and
rocket
she's pretending-
salad.
Yeah,
You know.
a rocket salad, but she's pretending it's a big old steak.
Yeah,
With all the fat in it.
ridiculous. Like, and I hate that. It's inauthenticity. People don't really give a fuck what you have for dinner. Just tell the truth. Like when you get, oh my, who was it? I forget who it was. Some big posh prick back in the day. And they, you know, they do one of these vox pop. Oh, not vox pop, but like they interview the ministers about like, oh, what's your favourite book or what's your favourite this and that.
Oh, what, from like a mainstream media softball interview?
Yeah,
or-
exactly. Yeah. And it was like just before one of the general elections, like 2010 or something, and it was so posh, and he was like, oh, my favourite album at the moment, I'm really enjoying the music of the Arctic Monkeys. And I thought, no, you don't know what that means.
You don't.
You've never heard of them, and that, you know what? That's fine. Just say what you really like is some fucking Strauss or Wagner or some shit. That's fine. I don't give a fuck, mate. Don't tell me you like the Arctic Monkeys when you don't even know what Sheffield is.
You know when someone is so posh and out of touch, they add the when they don't need to.
Yeah,
the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you're full of shit when you say the Arctic Monkey. Like, fuck off.
Love it.
You do a very good posh accent. I quite like it.
Thank you. Well, I've interacted with them from time to time.
I close my eyes and I feel like I'm in the House of Lords, you know.
I do like listening to the House of Lords or watching the House of Lords.
I find it so boring.
Well, exactly.
How do you put yourself through that?
Because it's like watching a zoo, right? They're not the same species as me. It's like watching aliens interact with each other. They don't talk normal. Some of them aren't the right shape. They're so old. I don't know how they're alive. Like Norman Tebbit, who was 200 years old when I was a child, is somehow still in the House of Lords. Why?
I'll tell you what I would be up for if we did like a drunken live House of Lords stream.
Oh, that'd be fucking belting. That'd be belting.
I'd do
yes.
that, but
yes.
it'd have to be like a Saturday night because I
want to introduce the Americans because like the House of Commons by comparison is relatively well ordered. I want to do like a Lord's question time bit because they don't even do it properly. They'll like one of them will start asking a question and go, "No, our side," and they start screaming "our side" at each other, and then eventually someone decides, "Oh, it's this person's chance." And you're like, you're just screaming at each other. This is supposed to be a democratic system. This is like something from the 15th century. God almighty.
Oh, Emma's saying, guys, you need to make it into a drinking game. I'll tell you what, we should do that. I'll come on yours. I'll come on your stream. And, yeah, when you're free. And let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I cannot sit through the House of Lords unless I've got some sort of fucking alcohol inside me.
That's fair enough. Well, most of the House of Lords can't stay awake without lots of stimulants inside them. So, yeah.
And what stimulants are they, old Kevin?
Well, look, I can't possibly suggest what they may be taking.
Does it potentially, not actually saying it is, but might be possibly look like snow?
Some of it might be in powder form.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But some of it is just literally like medicines to keep them alive.
True.
Yeah.
Or Viagra, possibly.
Very possibly, yes. I imagine so. What a grotesque thought that is. God almighty. Most of them have not fucked since 1972. Okay.
The year I was born. Right. I'm not going to watch PMQ, so I'm going to leave you to it.
Yeah, you go for it.
Crack on with the old editing stuff. But yeah, let's. It's a date. We will.
It's a day. Yes.
Just pick a day on the weekend, and I'm free for it. It'll be fun.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, and we'll chit chat another time, man.
Cool. All right then. I will see you soon.
Bye.
And bye, Kevin's audience. See you later.
Bye. There you go. Everyone go and follow Turn Left on all of the platforms. Good stuff. Oh, good lord. Did Curtis say he was born in 1972? I think he may have heard me say 1992, which would make a lot more sense, but whatevs. We had noise. Actually, I'll turn the thing back on now. I'll turn the alert box back on so you can make noises at me. Thank you to Plexicon for resubscribing, 48 months. Amazing shit. Igloo BC with 21 months, paying my ginger tax. You knows it. I don't know why I'm doing that into the camera. The camera isn't even fucking on. What an absolute bell piece I am. Hang on a second. Oh, sweet merciful Jesus. Hopefully that works now. Let's have a look. Activate. Is that going to work? Hey, there we go. Right. Look, fucking Christ almighty. Will you fuck off, you cunt? Go on. Oh. Ooh, there you go. Right. Hello, everybody. Oh, sweaty spaghetti. Hey, hello, Turn Left. Everyone follow Turn Left. There they are in the chat. Go and say hello. I still need to make the... Well, I do need to make that, and I've given up the will to live, in all honesty. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway. Thank you, Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood. Says, good evening, pals, gals, and non-binary pals. Well, indeed. And thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Sister Rose. Everyone go and follow Sister Rose, by the way. I did see that they'd popped in earlier, but I was talking. Thank you, Lesbian Hot Sauce. Oh, hello, Lesbian Hot Sauce, I should say. Birthday Umphy. Biphobic? Am I biphobic? I certainly hope not. Everyone go and follow Lesbian Hot Sauce. Fuck it, why not? Yes. Where are we? Oh, anyway, yeah, you can still give me lots of money if you wanted to, chat, in the form of bits and subs and memberships and super chats and all of that. And I've turned the noises back on, and you can scare me with the noises. Can you follow people from the chat? Yes, if you click on their name in the chat, it should say go to channel or something like that, and you can follow them to their channel and subscribe and things. Anyway, Prime Minister's cunting question time.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, can I welcome in the gallery the President and the delegation of the French National Assembly?
What is the point? Why did we fight all of those wars just to allow the French in anyway? Jesus Christ, you are a disgrace. It's like Waterloo never happened. We're just letting the fucking French wander into the middle of London, unmurdered. This is an outrage. I will not stand!
And also the knighthood to Sir Billy Boston. Anne Davies, Prime Minister's question.
Question 1, please.
Mr. Speaker, can I first wish you a happy birthday for yesterday? And say that we're all delighted that Sir Billy Boston, a great British sporting icon, has received his richly deserved knighthood.
Who gives a fuck?
Not only for him, but also for rugby league.
The only thing I give a fuck about in terms of the knighthoods that were given out, because I mean it's all bollocks anyway, and fuck royalty, but it was funny to see Sadiq Khan become Sir Sadiq Khan just because it annoyed the piss out of racists. Oh. God, they were annoyed. They were so angry. And that's worth it. I think we do need to have more petty annoyances of right-wing cunts. Because they deserve to be... They should feel bad because they are bad. They're bad people. Making them feel bad, I think, is an appropriate response from any good society.
Mr. Speaker, it's Carers Week, and I know the whole House will join me in celebrating the selfless dedication of our unpaid and young carers. This weekend also marks the 8th anniversary of the Grenfell Tower fire.
And nothing's been done. There are still loads of those fucking towers still clad in shit. Amazing.
We will honour the 72 men, women and children who lost their lives by delivering meaningful and lasting change, a country with safe and secure homes for everyone, and where justice is done for the Grenfell community. Mr. Speaker, acting alongside our allies, we've sanctioned individuals responsible for inciting appalling settler violence and expansion. We've done that to uphold human rights and defend the prospect of a two-state solution.
Why are you still pretending that a two-state solution is even plausible at this point? Like, catch up with the fucking latest news from 20 years ago, you prick. Like, that's... It might still sound nice, and it's the kind of soothing liberal bullshit that gets these people through, but, like, they're not... It's not going to fucking happen. Have you seen what they're doing? Trump's planning to have a Riviera on the fucking... the Costa del Garza, or whatever, right? They're not going to fucking allow a two-state solution. Are you mental?
We will continue to support all efforts to secure a ceasefire, the release of all hostages despicably held by Hamas, and the humanitarian aid that needs to...
What about the fucking hostages still held despicably by Israel? Do they get a mention?
...to surge in. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others, in addition to my duties in
Oh, hang on. We do have Popper in the chamber
this
today.
House. I shall have further such meetings later today.
Davis.
Diolch, Mr Llefarydd. My constituent, Mr Michael O'Leary, was brutally murdered 5 years ago.
Oh, that's the best kind of Welsh accent. Brutally murdered. Love it. Fucking love it. God, it's powerful.
And his body was desecrated. Working alongside the honourable members for York Outer and Montgomeryshire and Glyndŵr, I've made a number of requests to discuss his and other victims' cases with ministers and to explore introducing legislation making the desecration of a body a criminal offence.
Okay, I'm in trouble, lads. Although they can't retroactively do it, can they? I can't. They can't retroactively do me for desecrating corpses, can they? It's just a bit of fingering. I'm not hurting them. I'm not doing anything. Can you up the volume on Pimkin? I can indeed, yes.
Would the Prime Minister meet with Mr O'Leary's family, along with other victims' families, including April Jones of Machynlleth and Sarah Everett and Helen McCourt?
I don't want to do this anymore!
Oh, it still fucking gets me, man. Fuck right off. Okay, thank you, Tess. Release the sausages. Well worth it.
They are calling for a new criminal offence of desecrating a body to be introduced.
Well, can I thank her for raising this horrific case and the other similar cases, and my thoughts, and I'm sure the thoughts of the whole House, are with Michael's family and all those affected by such vile crimes. I think we all need to listen to what they have to say. I know she's been working with the Honourable Friend for York Outer on this issue, and I pay tribute to her and all of those that are working so hard on this issue, and I'm sure the Justice Minister will be in touch at the first opportunity to take this forward, and I thank her again for raising a really important issue.
Simon Offer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, in Gloucestershire, after 14 years, waiting lists for both physical and mental health are finally falling. So last week I hosted a round table with young people and heard how music and arts programmes like the fantastic Gloucestershire Music Works are transforming mental health outcomes. I also chaired a panel on comedy on prescription in South by Southwest with Lou Jackson and Jonathan Pye, utilising laughter to improve
Wow, Jonathan Pye, brilliant.
well-being and reduce waiting lists. So, can I ask the Prime Minister to back our campaign in creative health and urge him to go further in reducing waiting lists for all patients? Thank you.
Can I comment? He's got great expertise. He's worked for many years in the NHS as a GP, and I support the work that he's doing. Our plan for change has cut waiting lists, as he points out, by almost 5,000 in his local trust, and we're going further, including through state-of-the-art radiotherapy machines rolled out across the country, Mr. Speaker. There's one going into his constituency, more scanners going to 27 other hospital trusts, including 2 hospitals in the constituency of the Leader of the Opposition. All made possible by the decisions that we've made, and I know she'll want to stand up and welcome that.
He's getting pre-digs in there. He's getting confident. He's getting ballsy, the lad. I'm sure this silly bitch would like to go up and say thank you to me now. Fucking hell. Oh, sneezy McGee.
Opposition, Kevin Bernal.
Mr. Speaker, perhaps the Prime Minister knows something I don't know. There's only one hospital in my constituency. But Mr. Speaker, since... Mr. Speaker, since Labour took office, Mr. Speaker, inflation has nearly doubled, growth has halved, and unemployment has surged. Is this what the Prime Minister meant when he tweeted that the economy is improving?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, since the general election, 500,000...
What a waste of a question. Like, It's just she's shit.
More people are in work.
Well, you're just teeing him up for his lines. It's nothing. What? Oh, God.
And I know she doesn't mention that. She's fixated on talking Britain down. We're investing in the future. Mr. Speaker, even in the last 2 weeks, the Strategic Defence Review, 30,000 new jobs building submarines. Yesterday, the Sizewell announcement, 10,000 new jobs. Tens of thousands of construction jobs building the social and affordable housing that was announced this morning. That's the difference that Labour makes in government.
What's this? Harvey Weinstein convicted of sex crime amid contentious jury deliberations. Okay. Well, he's going to die in jail, isn't he? So that's not... I don't think it's a problem. But, yeah. Yeah, fuck him. Piece of shit.
Mr. Speaker, he must be talking about a different economy. All of us in this House heard about unemployment increasing. Unemployment has increased every month since Labour took office. Last year, he said he was taking the winter fuel payment away to balance the books. But the books are not balanced. In fact, they are worse. This year, the deficit is forecast to be £10 billion higher since the budget. Not since last year's election, since the budget. In what way are the books now balanced?
Mr. Speaker, she's obviously...
Two swings, two absolute misses. Nothing.
They missed the interest rate cuts, the growth figures for earlier this year, the huge... The Strategic Defence Review, local transport, £15 billion going in, free school meals, Sizewell, social housing. Mr. Speaker, but she stands there to lecture us, and I say Liz Truss is obviously back in vogue, advising reform officially now, haunting the Tories, and I remind her that the Shadow Home Secretary, I think he was then Chief Secretary to the Treasury, he gave the Liz Truss budget, Mr. Speaker, 9.5 out of 10. The leader of the opposition said what was wrong with Liz Truss's budget was not necessarily the package, that was all right, it was the way it was sold. They've learned absolutely nothing.
Mr. Speaker, he...
Good night, Story Girl. Thanks for stopping by.
Loves talking about Liz Truss because he loves talking about Liz Truss. Why? Why? Because he wants to hide from his own economic record. He's a coward. He's a coward. Every time he's...
By the way, you're not supposed to point either. God, the Speaker really is shit. Like, I don't want it to just sort of disintegrate into me just going, why won't the Speaker enforce the rules? Because I don't give a fuck about the rules. But, like, we're constantly told about how, okay, maybe you're not going to bed, but anyway, oh, it says good day. I thought it said good night. Sorry, I misread that. Apologies. Well, welcome in, Story Girl, or whatever. I don't fucking know. Just hello. I'll just say hello and leave it there. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about, like, parliamentary conduct. But if you're going to enforce the rules, you've got to enforce them properly. And he doesn't. Like, she's blatantly there, like, pointing at him. And you're not supposed to. That's against the fucking rules. But apparently it's fine when Tories do it.
Stands up there and talks about Liz Truss, it's because he is scared about talking about his record and what is happening to the economy out there. Let's bring it back to the U-turn, which he's running away from. A U-turn on a policy that his MPs went out defending time and time again. Let's go through what's happening here. 1 minute, they said it was right to take the winter fuel payment away, that there might be a run on the pound. The next minute, they said it was right to give it back. This is laughable. He stands there all puffed up and self-righteous. Why can't the Prime Minister just admit that he made a mistake?
Well, he should. That is a fair point. He should admit he made a mistake and say sorry. He won't, though. We already saw that from Dickhead on Sunday. Their whole line is, no, it was right at the time, but now it's right to do the exact opposite thing.
Mr. Speaker, they left a £22 billion black hole.
Hey, bingo!
We had to fill, and that's why we took the right decisions. We've stabilised the economy. That's why we've seen 4 interest rate cuts. The triple lock is committed to on this side. They say it's unsustainable on that side. That's £470 for most pensioners and good Q1 growth. 3 weeks ago...
Don't be having a go at my boy Jim Shannon. Okay, he has problems with ties. That's clearly the truth, 255. Okay? But he's adorable if you ignore everything he ever believed or votes for or, like, says. But he says it in such a nice way. He's like a kindly old cunt. Like, imagine if you took the most bigoted person you've ever met and then made them, like, homely. And it's like you want to shrink them down and keep them in your pocket, and you can just take them out and go, oh, abortion is death and murder, and then you can put it back in your pocket. Like that, you know?
I said that I wanted more pensioners to be eligible for winter fuel. I'm really pleased we set out the threshold and the certainty that is needed. And she says I don't want to talk about my record. What about free trade deals, record investment, free school meals, breakfast clubs, social and affordable...
I've got to say, he is... I mean, I don't know if it's just he's coked off his tits this week or whatever, but, like, he does seem more confident in recent weeks. I think possibly because he knows the Tory party is dying, so the only person he has to face most of the time is, like, an idiot. So, I don't know if... Or whatever, I don't know. Maybe he's buying his own bullshit, whatever, but he seems more confident in it. Maybe Keith from Accounts is growing some balls, I don't know.
Affordable housing, defence review, Sizewell. We could go on all morning, Mr. Speaker, but we've got the Chancellor who's going to say even more in a minute. Mr. Speaker, I think she at the weekend said that she would be getting better in the role. She could start with apologising.
Flint Reed with the greatest description of Jim Shannon I've ever heard. So he's an idiot bingo. Was an idiot octogenarian Pokemon. He is. Jim Shannon is an octogenarian bigot Pokemon. That is just correct. That is what he is, yes. He hasn't even reached his final form yet. I can't wait.
For the Liz Truss budget. That would
Stop
be
it.
better.
Get some help.
Mr. Speaker, I get better every week. He gets worse. Yes, he...
What?
Gets worse. Last week, Mr. Speaker.
If you think that is a good look, it is a very bad look. And think twice before you try to shoot somebody down in that way. Hey, Ben.
Again, only ever does that to Labour Party people. The Tories get to shout all they like. Fucking useless chocolate teapot cunt. Thank you, Scrubby. 38 months with Prime. You are a sexual demon.
Mr. Speaker, last week he had to get his lines from the Russian embassy. I think we all know that he is getting worse, and what he does not want to talk about is how he is going to make the economy better. That is what the people out there want to hear, and he's got no...
Yeah, he was originally Labour, yeah, but he's just a shithouse.
Answers. His trade deals have unravelled. The strategic defence review, everyone out there is asking where's the money coming from, and the fact is he doesn't know how to balance the books. The Chancellor says the winter fuel payment U-turn won't be funded through higher borrowing.
Stop it.
So will the Prime Minister
Get some help.
that it will be funded by putting everybody's taxes up?
Yes. Tax rich cunts, for the love of God. Please. Thank you, Sozzled Snake, for resubscribing with 15 months. Much love to you. Who is fucking ringing me at this time of night? It's... Oh, the Twitch verification thing. Oh, fuck off, you cunt. Jesus Christ. We're on a hype train again. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger... oh, I don't know. Who shall I finger, chat? Whoever gets me over the limit, I'll let them decide. I don't know who that will be, but... They can get to decide. It's usually a dead fascist of some variety. And have to do it quickly before they make desecration of a corpse a specific legal offence. Which I already assumed it would be, but apparently not. I don't know.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think she let slip on the Matt Ford programme the other day that she rehearses her
Stop
fury
it.
for PMQ.
Get some
so,
help.
a very good rehearsal this morning, I think. Mr. Speaker, she asked what we're doing. At the budget, we put record investment in our NHS and our public service. Record investment. And she comes every week to carp on about national insurance, but she doesn't stand there with the current...
Twitch verification. Change your passwords.
Mussolini. 707 Kitty Bonk.
Okay. Well, I was in that little... what was the town called again? Oh, I can't even fucking remember. But I went there a couple of weeks ago to finger Mussolini. So I feel like I've got a feel for the place. And for his back passage. I wonder if it's a crime in Italy. I don't know. Okay. Thank you, Story Girl. Peer pressure me. Go on, then. Thank you. And thank you, Why Would a Story with 1,000 bitty bits. I've got to go and finger Mussolini. Let's go. Where are we? Am I even on the fucking camera anymore? Barely. That'll do. I don't care. I'm comfortable.
Her convictions and say she'll actually reverse it. And the reason she won't, because she won't stand up and say she's against the investment in the NHS. She won't stand up and say she's against the investment in our public services. And we'll all listen very carefully.
Also, thank you, James Holmes, for gifting 5 memberships on YouTube from ages ago. That was during the thing, which I totally missed. But thank you. Much love.
Carefully in just 20 minutes when the Chancellor lays out more record investment as to whether they welcome it or whether they say they wouldn't support it.
Mr. Speaker, every week I come here to tell him the truth. The truth that the economy
and nothing
is in
but
a
the
spiral
truth.
Because Labour, that's...
You want the truth. You can't handle the fucking truth, you can't.
All of them, Labour, put up taxes that cut growth, and we all heard the Prime Minister, he didn't rule out tax rises, so they are going to have to put up taxes even more. This is a spiral. And if that wasn't bad enough, Mr. Speaker, if that wasn't bad enough, this morning we heard that because of his terrible Chagos deal, Mauritius...
Oh my God! Victory is ours! She's still coming around fucking Chagos. You can, honestly, Kemi, you're gonna kill me. You're gonna fucking kill me with this rate. Oh God, I'm so glad I didn't start doing the Chagos drinking game, because this motherfucker would have destroyed my kidneys. No, liver, isn't it, for alcohol? Jesus fucking Christ! Stop mentioning Chagos. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Not a single person gives the slightest shit about the fucking Chagos Islands, and you mention it every fucking week. God. Oh. Hey. Thank you, Emma Venescence, for following. Welcome to the Kevolution, friendo. Oh yeah, thank you, Adrena, as well, for saying that I look nice on the stream earlier. You're wrong, and you should feel bad about lying to me like that, but I appreciate that you said that I look nice, but you are wrong. Oh, so, well, there you go. That's the thing with Kemi. You know she's about to mention Chagos. Solly should have known better, okay? You know this motherfucker's about to mention Chagos because she hasn't. Like the only time when she isn't going to mention Chagos is when she's just mentioned it. Every other time you have to be wary.
Is scrapping income tax. Why on earth should the British taxpayer pay for £30 billion for tax cuts in Mauritius?
Mr. Speaker, Diego Garcia is a vital intelligence and strategic capability. And it's absolutely clear that legal uncertainty would compromise it in very short order. That is why they started the negotiations in relation to it. And no responsible Prime Minister would let that happen. We've secured the base for the long time. That has been welcome.
I've always, yeah, it's good courtesy to always secure the base before doing anything else. You're going to secure the base, work the shaft. Penis.
Welcomed by our allies, by the US, by NATO, by Australia, New Zealand, India. It's been opposed by our adversaries, Russia, China and Iran.
China!
And in the second column we add...
Oh, you can barely see the doggo. But she is there. You can see the back of the doggo. The Right Honourable Jenny. The only genuinely honourable member of that chamber, of course. But there you go. She is, just to say she is in attendance. Thank you to Story Girl with a couple of community subs. Much love. Honestly, I can't wait to finger Mussolini again. The only thing that's disappointing is he's not upside down. Because then you could just slip your hand in like a kind of glove or something, you know. They should have buried him upside down. That would have been funny.
Reform following Putin and the Tories following reform.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime...
Oh, there you go. You can kind of see her. She's lying down. There she is. Does Jenny have a treat count as a bribe? I do hope so. I hope she's got a gold-plated Treato account. And you know what? I wouldn't mind her abusing that account. She's the one member of Parliament I don't mind, you know, paying for on expenses.
Prime Minister knows this has nothing to do with national security, but his bad negotiating. I've had the security briefings. It was a bad deal before, and it's still a bad deal. And then in half an hour, the Chancellor is going to stand up and tell us that everything is fine. But the truth is, she has made bad choices. Bad choices that mean higher inflation, bad choices that have led to lower growth, bad choices that have meant that jobs have been lost every single month since Labour came into office. That's hundreds of thousands of families who've lost their income in Stoke, in Grangemouth, in Luton. Those are their constituents.
But what about Chagos?
Businesses across the country. The Chancellor has lost all her headroom. She's fallen out with the Cabinet. She's making unfunded...
Are her hands shaking? Now, before anyone starts, I don't believe she has a nervous disorder. I think she's just, like, nervous. I don't think she doesn't have, like, Parkinson's or anything, does she? I'm pretty sure she's healthy in that respect. She's just shaking because she's shit at this, I think.
Spending commitments which she promised not to do. Isn't the truth that we have got the wrong Chancellor and the wrong priorities?
The wrong choice they made was making her leader of the opposition.
I mean, that's not an answer. That's definitely not an answer to the question, but...
Birthday greetings to you. Mr. Speaker, it's wrong for any Labour government. No Labour government should ever try to balance the books on the backs of disabled people.
And that is exactly what they are doing.
Yet in just a few weeks' time, that is what the Prime Minister will ask this House to do.
Oh, this meme makes me so happy. Oh, 255, you are my favourite lunatic. Honestly. You are. I love you dearly. You've made me a Jewish Pokemon. Okay, that's pretty good. I might have to tweet that out, I think, actually. That is exceptional. What would you suggest? Because his HP bar's low there, so I reckon we fight, right? I reckon we definitely fight on this round. 100%. And he's level 3. Fucking noob. I'm speaking like I have any idea what these things mean.
Many of us will not be able to go along with that because it will their food. The toilet will lose the PIP they currently get. That's vital support. This week, the Prime Minister changed direction on winter fuel payment. Will he do the same in relation to this and now drop these disability benefit cuts?
Mr. Speaker, it's very important we make the changes to our welfare system. It's not working. It needs reform. I think everybody agrees with that. It doesn't work for anyone. We will do so on a principled basis that those who can work should work. Those that want to work should be supported to do so, and that we must protect those with the most severe disabilities who will never be able to work, and we're doing that by ending reassessments and paying a new premium.
Liberal Democrats.
He's a fucking ghoul, he really is. Thank you everyone for the hype train. I've got to go and finger Mussolini.
Sir Ed David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join others in wishing you belated happy returns for yesterday? And can I welcome the government sanctions of ministers in the Netanyahu government, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich? The violence they've incited, the settler violence they've incited against innocent Palestinians on the West Bank is intolerable, and the government were right to act.
Whereas the violence actually enacted by Benjamin Netanyahu is fine or something. Apparently. That doesn't, you don't need to do anything about that. That's, yeah, whatever. Fucking hell.
And as it's Carers Week, Mr. Speaker, can I pay tribute to the millions of unpaid family carers across the country and recognise the
pay them, for fuck's sake.
Challenges that they face. Mr. Speaker, the last Conservative government left our health service on its knees. We've heard reports that the NHS review, if it does, we will support that. But does the Prime Minister agree that no amount of money for the NHS will solve its crisis unless we also invest to fix care? So without preempting the Chancellor's statement, will the Prime Minister reassure me that both social care and family care...
I will give Dave his due on this. He does go on about social care a lot. Like, that's something he does seem to genuinely care about and has pushed the Prime Minister on significantly. Now, I don't think he's actually had any effect, because I don't think that the Prime Minister gives a shit. But I have to admire at least the consistency of the guy in trying to keep it on, at the kind of forefront of the political agenda, because it is a disgrace what the way in which social care is so badly underfunded.
Carers will get the priority they deserve in the spending review.
Can I agree with him that the health crisis created by the previous government cannot be solved? They groan. That is exactly how the country feels about the last 14 years and the mess they made of everything. Yes, we do need to fix social care alongside the money.
Yeah, and he was part of the Lib Dem Tory coalition government that fucked things up in the first place. That's like a given, really.
We're putting into the NHS. We're putting record amounts into the NHS. That's the right thing to do, and we're seeing the results. We promised 2 million extra appointments in the first year, of a Labour government. We've delivered 3 million, so there will be that extra funding. I would gently say to him, whilst he welcomes all the extra funding, he can't also at the same time simply say he's against any way of raising the money for the funding. There's an incompatibility.
Predapio, that's the town, yeah. I remember that because we watched the documentary and I bobbed and fingered him, didn't I? And I totally didn't smash up the shop with the Mussolini knickknacks in it. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. You can't prove it.
Ability there.
Sir Ed David.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knows you've got a fairer and better way of funding NHS investment, and I regret the fact that he didn't answer my question on care. But, Mr. Speaker, moving on, the Prime Minister is right to increase defence spending, and later will...
Oh, you fucking cunt! Oh, God, I hate the Lib Dems so much. See, they follow up a good question with a shithouse question. It's good. It's good. Fuck carers. Carers don't actually need to get paid. We can just say thank you for them doing unpaid labour. So that their aged fucking infirm relatives don't starve to death, because we're not going to fucking take care of them. Mooching cunts. But what we do need is tens of billions more for extra nuclear weapons that we don't need. Brilliant! I fucking hate the world, man.
Here, the difficult choices the Chancellor has had to make, partly to fund that defence expenditure. But there are £25 billion of frozen Russian assets in the UK right now. Billions that could be used to stop Putin's war machine and to boost Britain's defence industry even faster. So at the G7 this weekend, will the Prime Minister try to seek an agreement to seize those frozen Russian state assets and use them to support Ukraine?
I'd have no problem with that. Yeah, that's cool. I'm down. Like, I don't know that as capitalists they want to make the, at least, proof of concept of being able to take illicitly gained profits away from evildoers and then use them for public good. Because that's really not the kind of, in the capitalist scheme of things, is it? Because if you make that argument, then basically all capitalists have all of their money taken from them. Which I'm down with. I'm not sure they are, though.
Well, as he knows, that is an issue that's being considered, but it is complicated, and there are a lot of countervailing factors that need to be carefully balanced in a
Are there? Are you sure there are?
decision that can be made. We are talking to allies about it, but I don't want to protect the House that there's an easy answer on this, because there isn't.
Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More jobs, cheaper bills. That was our promise.
Who let this fucking spermatozoa out of someone's testicles? Who let this unfertilised egg in Parliament? Who is this prepubescent freak? And how did he get in here? Look, they've even put him in a suit and everything. Why aren't you at school? Disconcerting.
On net zero. If we can't meet those goals, then we must consider.
I would not serve this man in a pub. I would not sell them cigarettes in a shop. I wouldn't even believe the ID. I wouldn't even ask for ID. I'd just say, get out of my shop, you little prick. I don't work in a shop, but if I did.
Our approach. In Pembrokeshire, we have a proud industrial history rooted in oil and gas. Exciting opportunity in floating offshore wind in the Celtic Sea. So can the Prime Minister assure me that he is committed to a just transition that protects and creates jobs?
Right, thank you for
It's okay though, you won't hear me taking the piss out of him because it's past his bedtime.
raising this. I believe this government must seize the opportunities of net zero for working people, creating good skilled jobs, taking off the roller coaster of volatile fossil fuel markets. Under past governments, Mr. Speaker, hard-working communities had their pride and their jobs ripped away, and we will never do that in relation to a transition. We've already seen £40 billion of investment in energy and renewables, and the CBI shows that 38,000 jobs in Wales are linked to clean energy. I want to see more of that. Both of them are against it.
Saoirse Eastwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I just want to pay tribute to the Police Service of Northern Ireland.
Mr. Speaker.
Briefly, for tackling public order in Northern Ireland over the last 2 nights.
That's an interesting one, which I don't think has been talked about a great deal. Some weird fucking bullshit racism in Northern Ireland. I know, crazy, right? But of a specific kind. There was, unfortunately, there was an incident of some kind of sexual assault against a local white woman by someone of immigrant background. And this has sparked off 2 nights of genuine like bad rioting, like burning fucking shit and, you know, going crazy. Now, in of itself, being angry that someone was allegedly raped is, of course, perfectly understandable. But these same groups of fucking arseholes have not gone around anywhere near as horrifically, you know, violently, in response to white guys doing exactly the same. Or indeed, they have seemingly kept a certain amount of support for Jeffrey Donaldson, the unionist politician, who is alleged to have committed dozens of such crimes. So, you know, I don't know that I necessarily trust their their genuineness in regards to how much they really care about the sexual assault of women in Northern Ireland. Something to bear in mind, I think. But regardless, I hope the person who was allegedly assaulted gets the justice they deserve, because any act of sexual assault deserves to be treated seriously. I don't know how rioting helps that situation, but you know, that's the way they've gone with it.
With over 30 police officers injured, I'm sure the whole House would want to join with me in that and also condemning the racist violence. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, whether it's the cardiac scandal at the RVH in Belfast, the cervical smear scandal in the Southern Trust, the COVID bereaved families, or the crash of Chinook Zulu Delta 576, all of which has impacted my constituents in Lagan Valley, the common thread here is that families simply wanted the truth, but they were let down by institutions at every cut and turn. Will this government urgently introduce a duty of candour bill and ensure that it reflects what the Hillsborough Law Now campaigners and families have fought so very hard for?
Yeah. Can I start with the important point she makes about Ballymena? And I utterly condemn the violence that we've seen overnight in Ballymena and in other parts of Northern Ireland, including against PSNI officers. It is absolutely vital that the PSNI are given the time they need to investigate the incidents concerned, rather than face mindless attacks as they seek to bring peace and order to keep people safe. And the Northern Ireland Secretary is in touch with the PSNI and the Executive, and I'm being kept updated.
I'm not sure what her party is. She one of the Alliance MPs, possibly? I can't remember.
In relation to that. In relation to the tragic cases that she raises, firstly, I thank her for raising them, and it is important that we have a legal duty of candour. We will be introducing that because, as she says, there must be the truth here based on all people being dealt with.
Of course he couldn't give a fuck. This man is a soulless, fucking, disgusting robot freak. He didn't give a fuck about any of these people, be them in Ballymena or anywhere else. He couldn't give a shit. We know who he is. We've seen enough of this fucking guy now. It's Keith from accounts pretending to have emotions. Beep boop.
On the basis of dignity, fairness and accountability. Thank you.
Yasmin Qureshi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the words of the former Israeli Prime Minister, what we are witnessing in Gaza is indiscriminate, limitless, cruel and criminal killing of civilians. More than 50,000 people have been killed. Children have been shot while queuing for bread. A growing number of genocide scholars, including leading Israeli academics, believe that a genocide is taking place.
And that's because it is, obviously.
Under international law...
Now watch Keith stand up and give the usual pat answer about we're working for a ceasefire and we're going to get a two-state solution. Kicking the can down the road.
We have a duty to prevent genocide. I served on the UN mission in Kosovo. We acted to stop mass killing there. What is the difference now? Will the Prime Minister please intervene immediately to...
Yes, it's Ehud Olmert is the former Prime Minister she is talking about. Was he Labour? I can't remember. Back when Labour, of course, used to be able to actually elect Prime Ministers in Israel. Crazy days.
Alleviate human suffering and take steps to recognise the state of Palestine.
Mr. Speaker, she'll have seen the statement we made yesterday and the actions that we're taking with allies. The humanitarian situation is dreadful and distressing, and scenes that we've witnessed outside aid distribution centres are frankly heartbreaking. More aid is needed at volume and speed into Gaza, and Israel's plan for aid delivery.
And what are you going to do to try and get the Israeli government to allow that? They won't even allow a boat with a fucking Swedish environmental activist and some fucking baby milk onto the strip. So how the fuck are you going to get the Israeli government to do anything about that, Keith? Yeah, you can say there needs to be more aid going in. Do it then. Apparently we can fly a fucking plane. So how about we drop some fucking aid? Whilst you're there doing reconnaissance flights at my fucking expense, how about you drop some food to them as well? Twofer. Prick.
Is inadequate and insufficient. What is needed is for the UN and other agencies to deliver that aid according to well-established mechanisms. And Israel must allow this. Mr. Speaker, we are working with allies to do all that we can to make this happen, as well, of course, to get the hostages out.
Oh, it was a whole Omer. Oh, I thought it was. Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's all fucking silly wank history at this point, but yeah. Never mind, it doesn't matter. It's a small point.
To have been held for a very long time and a desperately needed return to a ceasefire.
Alex Easton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, there are significant concerns regarding the potential job losses at Spirit Aerosystems stemming from the deal with Airbus. Would the Prime Minister agree with me and intervene to bring all the main players, including the unions, the Business Secretary and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, around the table to ensure these jobs are protected, especially considering this?
Even though I can clearly tell he's enunciating as clearly as he can, this is worse than your average, accent, right? This one's more difficult to understand. Maybe because he's talking into his chest, I don't know, but it's not very clear.
Scale of the issues akin to the
Look,
challenges
I can understand
faced by
him.
British Steel. And also there is an issue for Northern Ireland businesses with the outworkings of the Northern Ireland Protocol and the Winter Framework.
Okay, we don't know which one it was then. Okay, Ulmer or Barack or whoever, one of the fuckers, you know.
The Prime Minister give me reassurances that he's working to resolve all those issues.
Well, I'm grateful to him for raising this important case of Spirit Aerosystems in Northern Ireland. I know how important it is for the workforce. I've visited them myself on more than one occasion. Airbus's decision to expand UK operations is good news for the sector and testament to world-class manufacturing expertise, and I want to see those high-skilled jobs protected. The Northern Ireland Secretary has met Airbus, the trade unions and assembly representatives to discuss the best outcome. The Minister of Industry is continuing engagement with stakeholders, and we will do everything we can in relation to this situation. I'm grateful to him for raising it.
Absolute problem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Prime Minister join me in condemning decisions taken by the Transport Minister of the previous government, who turned their back on promises to deliver a new train station at Bean Park, which derailed growth in my constituency of Dagenham and Rainham? And will he also agree that the Grampian condition on the Bean Park development must be honoured and that infrastructure must accompany all developments of scale as we get on with the job of delivering millions of new homes? Yeah.
Well, I know she's been fighting hard for this project for years, and she's right, the previous government failed to deliver. You could say that about anything they touch, Mr. Speaker. But the Rail Minister is working with the Mayor and Housing Minister to get an appropriate solution to unlock housing in the area. Mr. Speaker, we'll also bring C2C back into public ownership, improving reliability and performance and ensuring every penny is focused on better service. I imagine when I said disaster is referring to the last government.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've spoken with parents with children with special education needs and disabilities, but aren't getting the support they need in school. However, if as a result their child...
Hey, Tim Farron there. Cheeky little bit of homophobic Lib Dem. Oi, oi, Timothy. I didn't even know he was still in Parliament. Shame he is.
...is out of school, they're left facing prosecution, fines or even prison time. Punishing parents for the
Yeah, I've got nothing to say about that other person's comment other than the fact that whenever Rainham is mentioned, it just reminds me of Unisex Chip Shop, the song by Bill Bailey, which mentions Rainham, which is a place in London apparently.
of a broken system is outrageous. So will the Prime Minister end this by backing Lord's Amendment 349A to the Children's Wellbeing and School Bill, and will he meet with me to discuss this further?
Can I thank her for raising this? The epidemic of absence in our schools is something that really does worry me and concern me. Thanks to the efforts of schools and parents across the country, we've seen over 3 million more days in school this year compared to last, which is really important. But we do know that pupils with special educational needs face more complex barriers in relation to school attendance. Look, we will, of course, look at all amendments in the usual way, but in this instance, I do think we struck the right balance.
Chris Webb. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I start by congratulating Sir Billy Boston. Billy ended his career playing at Blackpool, and I know this has been a long campaign by the Culture Secretary, the Speaker, the Honourable Member for Makerfield, and many in this House, so congratulations to Sir Billy. 12,000 people, it's been exposed by shelter, are waiting for council housing in Blackpool. This is a damning indictment on the legacy of previous 14 years of the government. Hundreds of families in my constituency are waiting for housing, stuck in bed and breakfast, or like my constituent Casey, who's sofa surfing with her 2 children in tow. So will the Prime Minister, alongside the Deputy Prime Minister, commit to a new generation of social housing and council housing in my constituency and help me build a better Blackpool?
Well, can I join him on his comments about Billy Boston, and I think the whole House will, Mr. Speaker. We are turning the tide on the housing crisis with the biggest investment in social and affordable housing in a generation, Mr. Speaker. The Chancellor investing £39 billion over the next 10 years, almost double what we saw under the last government. And no wonder the National Housing Federation welcomed this as transformative, saying it offers real hope to the thousands who need safe, secure and affordable homes.
Sarah Bull.
Good night, William. Thanks for stopping by, mate.
It is National Diabetes Week, and as someone living with type 1, as we both are, Mr. Speaker, we are more than aware.
My mum has diabetes as well, for what it's worth. She deals with it very well. She also has, what do you call it? Celiacs, which means she can't have gluten as well. So her diet is fucking horrible. She has to watch everything that she eats, and the food is expensive and tastes like dog shit. This is why she crochets.
Of the serious complications of diabetic ketoacidosis, KDA, which if not caught early enough could prove fatal.
Diabetes.
Now, a quarter of children are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when in...
This is why she crochets monstrosities. Where are we? Fuck off. Hang on a minute. Where did the thing go? Where the fuck? Come on now, you little prick. Here we go. Who remembers this little fucking badass? She crocheted this fucking evil thing for me. Do you remember? Hang on. Look at it. Look at this fucking thing. Look at it stare into your soul. It's supposed to be Sonic, I think. I don't like it. That's what happens with diabetes. The fuck am I talking about, man?
KDA, and that could be avoided with early diagnosis. So will the Prime Minister commit to rolling out a national, universal screening programme as seen in Italy for type 1?
Yeah. Can I thank her for championing this really important
My shirt
issue?
does match
My
Sonic,
late mother
yes.
had diabetes, and so I know firsthand.
Oh, for God's sake, your mum worked in the NHS and she had diabetes, and your dad was a fucking tool maker, and your uncle was the battleship that was sunk in the fucking Falklands, and your granddad was made out of Swiss cheese. Yeah, we know.
Just what a struggle it can be and how important it is. Type 1 diabetes is not preventable, as she knows, but the sooner we can reach people, the sooner we can care for them. And we have a screening programme in the UK available to families across the country, and over 20,000 children have already taken part. It is really important that we continue to deliver that, but can I thank her for continuing to champion this and to raise her voice on this very important issue.
Durham Pappy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is crystal clear how social media and smartphones are harming our young people, with cyberbullying, addiction and exploitation absolutely rife. Governments elsewhere are taking bold action. I understand ministers are considering a 2-hour limit, but that's per app rather than per day. I know the Prime Minister takes this seriously, so can he update the House on what he wants to see happen and what action this government will take to protect our children?
Very possibly, Jordan.
It is important that we take action to protect our children, and from July, Mr. Speaker, tough new rules will mean platforms must protect children in the UK from seeing harmful and violent content. We do need to look at other measures needed to create safer online experiences for young people, and we won't hesitate to take further steps.
Absolutely pointless.
Statistics show that
most of his answers are just pointless. Like, he might as well not say any words.
delays for cancer treatment in North Norfolk are greater than the national average. Much of this relates to the struggles that we face specifically as an older rural constituency. I was elected on a promise to get our NHS back and fighting fit after the criminal damage inflicted on it by the Conservatives. Yeah. Would the Prime Minister recognise that rural health services face acute and specific challenges? And can he give his word to the people of North Norfolk
acute and
that
specific
the reforms
challenge.
and spending we need will come forward to address this?
Yeah. Can I thank him for raising this really important issue for his constituents? I think it does impact rural areas in particular. We've set out record funding for the NHS. We have our cancer plan, and I can give him that reassurance.
This is the final question, Johnny Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister and members across this House would have witnessed this spectacular victory for Davy Russell in Scottish. Hall and Stonehouse by-election. My constituents are sick of SNP failure, and they voted for change for their NHS, their schools and for Scotland. So can I ask the Prime Minister, has he seen the calls from within the SNP for John Swinney to resign? And does he agree with me that a leader who's only ever lost elections to the Labour Party should stay put?
Well, can I pay tribute?
What a genuine waste of a question. I'm not even going to dignify it by listening to the answer. I don't care. It's pathetic. Oh, now my thing's in the way. I'll just get right. There we go. Now you can see the full meme. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to fucking Labour wankers fucking gloating. Yes. I shall be back, dear viewer, tomorrow, hopefully with no justice, to watch some Question Tim, where they just ask questions to Tim Pool. No, I'm only joking. It's a question time, but from somewhere. I don't fucking know where they're from. Who have we got on? You know what? I will send you all over to Katie Montgomery on the YouTubes. Have fun there. Who's on Twitch then I can send everybody over to? Who's this person? No, fuck that guy. I'll send you over to Fran Frio. Go and check out Francesca Fiorentini, who is good people. If I can fucking find her on the thing. Oh, I'm gonna have to type it in. God damn you. Yes. Thank you everyone for all of your support as well. Franifio. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Anyway, go and check them out. And yeah, thank you everyone for your support. Honestly, it's fucking amazing. I love you all. And thank you for sticking with me during a difficult couple of weeks, you know. Stay beautiful. No pass around.
Joe, give me your